Is landing more complicated than just holding control?
Ayo, weapons free, and keep an eye out for cities.
Not really.
I'm not.
These are size 3 Panthers on here.
Is landing more complicated than just holding control?
Ayo, weapons free, and keep an eye out for cities.
Not really.
I'm not.
These are size 3 Panthers on here.
Is landing more complicated than just holding control?
Ayo, weapons free, and keep an eye out for cities.
Not really.
I'm not.
These are size 3 Panthers on here.
Is landing more complicated than just holding control?
Ayo, weapons free, and keep an eye out for cities.
Not really.
I'm not.
These are size 3 Panthers on here.
Is landing more complicated than just holding control?
Ayo, weapons free, and keep an eye out for cities.
Not really.
I'm not.
These are size 3 Panthers on here.
Is landing more complicated than just holding control?
Ayo, weapons free, and keep an eye out for cities.
Not really.
I'm not.
These are size 3 Panthers on here.
Is landing more complicated than just holding control?
Ayo, weapons free, and keep an eye out for civvies.
Not really.
I'm not.
These are size 3 Panthers on here? Like, oh, another hover bike that holds one person and a little bit of cargo. Yay!
Ooh! I got an idea.
A hover
What?
bike with one person?
No, they should have put the rock mining arm on the back seat, but you can only use it sideways.
Oh God! Don't give them ideas. They'll do that for the what is this thing even fucking called?
I don't even
I don't know. Quad bike, I think. It doesn't even have a name. Like
the quad bike DS will have it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's yep. Yeah, this
It
is
is
right.
the hover
Actually, now that you mention it, this is exactly like the Rock DS as the Rock DS
like-
was released. Like everyone's kind of like,
No
why
one-
the fuck
no
did
one
you
asked
release
for
this?
it.
It is literally
one
called
really
the
wanted
hover
it.
quad.
Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah, it's
It's
just
the
like I said, if it had some shtick for it, it's like, okay, this is its unique feature. Like on all the other bikes,
Yeah.
kind of. I can't even really say that. Like the Nox and the X1, they're both like.
Only two
Well,
others.
we've got the Dragonfly, we've got the Nox, we've got the X1 series, we've got. I think that's it.
But those were also like the beginning bikes, so you understand that those were kind of like the test bed technology design.
Yeah.
So you give them some, they have some freedom. Yeah.
This is like the Dragonfly is the utilitarian one. The Nox is the racing one. The X1's also the racing one. But again, like this is like, okay, we got the bikes. We're starting to learn what we can do with the tech. As you said, like those are the starter bikes. Now we're going to start going into the career versions, or at least that's what you thought. And now we have the consolidated outland hover quad.
Yeah. So some 16-year-old kid who's actually has an allowance will buy it because, well, that's what he could afford. He'll ride it around, and people say that's nice. Until he upgrades.
At least ground vehicles are really cheap in games. So, by the way, welcome to episode 53 of Cast in Shadows. To anyone watching, Film 29's in that.
Oh, I was
good to see.
I was scheduled for 54. I gotta go.
That. Oh, it's 5-3. I think I could have easily miscounted.
I don't know.
But yes, so the hover quad. It really is just a Rock DS all over. I will say this: it looks cooler than the Rock DS.
Yeah, it does.
Like at least
I'll give you that. Sorry.
In terms of like purpose, I mean, you might as well just use the Nox or the Dragonfly because both of them. The Dragonfly has a passenger seat and can hold the one SCU cargo, or at least it's supposed to be able to.
As long as the Dragonfly is the only one that has a cargo slot, even though it's really small, basically doesn't mean much. It's always going to be my go-to bike out of all the out of all the hover bikes. That's the one I'm going to use just because it has that tiny little bit. And I would think at some point they would recognize that they need bikes with storage. Like, how come the quad bike doesn't have it?
Well, I think it does.
Does it not? I thought it does.
I'm pretty sure it has a storage container on there. I don't know how much it is. I believe it does have some.
I have not heard a single person mention it. That's what makes me think that it doesn't, because I would think.
Well, bear in mind it's still in the early stages. But when
No,
one of
it's
the
in game.
leaks-
It's in the PTU.
I
Yeah,
know,
but it's in the
I know that.
PTU.
However, that does not mean it's fully finished. How many vehicles do we have right now with missing features that are in the game, but they are not feature complete?
Missing
Well,
missing features is
Reclaimer.
one thing, but like, how many vehicles do you have that are missing storage? None.
Let's see, the Avenger Titan, Aurora and Mustang, their cargo lists don't work. Waiting on the cargo refactor, sure, but still.
Okay.
There's the
Okay.
Talon.
All right.
There is a large list of them.
A lot of
but
pretty much every single
when-
seat fighter.
when the quad bike was data mined, there was a personal container, personal inventory, something hatch on there.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about an actual like one SKU cargo grid. You know.
Oh yeah, no.
kind of
Oh
a
yeah,
thing.
no. It's
That's
not
what
gonna have. Now,
Yeah.
if it did have something like that, like if it had like, oh, it's got a tractor beam that can hold one SU car, like okay, that's viable.
Yeah.
This is now something because it's like it has no weapons.
Exactly.
It doesn't have shields, but it can hold one SKU of cargo. This thing would be perfect to throw on your cargo ships because now you can use it to go and transfer cargo around. If you find some wrecks, you're just moving stuff
Yeah.
around. And why would I
Yep.
need weapons on there? I'm not taking it to a war zone. If it had
It's your
something like
red
that,
wagon.
that
your
yeah,
golf cart.
no, literally. If it had that, I would be going, hey, yeah, that's viable. As
Yep.
it is, it has no reason to exist.
Exist. Yep.
Agreed.
I'm 100% with Cam, which is scary.
Dun dun dun.
He gets it right sometimes.
Oh no, he gets it right more than I do. So it's me getting it right every once in a while.
Also, I will admit, I expected it to be bigger than the Dragonfly, but I was surprised that it's smaller.
They wanted it to fit on the Nomad.
The Nomad,
Is
yeah.
that it?
Oh,
The
yeah,
other
and the pickup
consolidated
bed.
Outland chip
Yep.
that has a similar design, yeah.
that makes sense.
I mean, it would make more sense if it had cargo capacity because the Nomad
Yeah.
is a freaking pickup truck, but
What's odd too is that the Dragonfly and the Nox both have shields and both have weapons.
yes, this is true.
The hover quad does not have shields and does not have weapons. Maybe that's just a whoops, we forgot to add them in, or some kind of an oopsie doozy happened. Maybe, but as it
mean,
is, it has
I
don't
no
think so.
redeeming. It has no redeeming qualities, and the other vehicles already far outclass it. So it would seem.
Yeah. And the
I
Nox
think-
is
Unless
smaller
it's-
than it.
I think we're seeing a shift. I think it's intentional. I think we're starting to see a shift in the mentality of where the MMO is going to go. And I think they're beginning to realize that not every single moving thing in the universe has a reason for having a gun attached to it, if that makes sense.
I mean,
And I think
Oh,
I think
I
the
don't-
earlier stuff was still like, hey, if you're going to buy it, you need protection. And now they're starting to realize that there's gameplay around hiring that protection and not just every single moving, vehicle has a pew pew on it.
I'm fine with it not having guns, but it's got to have
Yeah.
like shield. Again, like if it's not going to have guns, it's not going to have shields. At least give it utility use. Otherwise, it is useless.
Well, it
It is
needs
literally
utility,
just your pleasure
shields.
cruiser.
Like every moving vehicle should have shields just to stop you from, taking a rock to the forehead if
Right.
you're following somebody,
Right, like all you're
Yeah.
like as I say, like you're going on a pleasure cruise or something, and all of a sudden it just makes sense, especially when it's widely used tech as it is in universe.
Yeah. It's just it's like a no-brainer insurance safety required item to me.
I mean,
like seatbelt.
I was going to say like seatbelts
Yeah.
because shield tech in Star Citizen is hundreds of years old now.
Yeah.
So it's it's been in use. Was it after one of the Defaran wars? That's when initially first made. So it's like, yeah, this is centuries old technology. You'd think it'd be adapted to pretty much every vehicle imaginable.
you would think. Dangerous thing.
It'd be like a
these days.
safety feature, just like a seatbelt.
It's
Every
actually
vehicle has a
illegal, Cam.
seatbelt.
Yeah.
Safe for motorcycles, at least in modern day.
But that being said, though, and this is something I've touched on in the past too, there is a need for more, I'd call them utility vehicles in the verse, just because, as noted, not everything's going to have a gun strapped to it. Not everything is going to be a combat vehicle, because even if you have, everything on a warfront setting, which, okay, we might be in the PU a few years into the human vandal open war, but you still have to have the industry to support that war, and that has to be huge. So because of that, you do need to have a lot of utility vehicles, and those should, to at least a general degree, again, bearing in mind that NPCs are going to be far outnumbering players. So in terms of what NPCs are using, there needs to be a hell of a lot more utility vehicles out there. So if you're some average farmer, if you're in a place that's relatively safe, I don't need really weapons or shields here. I just need something to get me from point A to point B, because hey, weapons and shields, if I want to buy a fancy dragonfly with a fancy smancy gun on there and shield generators, hey, that's gonna cost me twice, 3, 4 times as much. Maybe.
I was told I was signing up for Mad Max Season 6.
Yeah. We lied. Here's a grenade, though.
Sweet. Pin's already pulled. Thanks.
Right. Spoon's missing too.
You don't need that, right?
Nope.
Yeah,
I'm probably going to die before it goes off anyways.
Some lucky sniper gets you before you can even explode.
So going to Jump Town, huh?
Yeah, exactly. I'm 100% behind what Cam's saying about utility. Like it should, to me, the universe, to like look at our real world. You've got 90% utility and you've got 10% war. If you look at like warships and warplanes and tanks and armor and all that kind of stuff, and then you look at semi trucks and trains and tankers and all the other accoutrements that go on with shipping supplies. Yeah, telephone worker trucks and
market.
Yeah, so I'm 100% behind it. Like utility should be the majority of what we see, and it should be the bad guys, whether it's AI or player. And I believe it's still going to be 9-1, so 9 AI for every 1 player. But yeah, if you see a warship or you see somebody with serious pew potential, that should be an indicator of like, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't be here.
Right.
So it's like you're sitting on your colony world there. You're out. You're out in the field tending to the hydroponics or whatever the fuck. You're tending to the robots that tend to the hydroponics or something like that, and you see fucking
to work on the water evaporators.
Exactly.
Moisture evaporators,
yeah. And you look up and you see like even something like a carrot, you might be like, huh, whoa, what's that guy doing here? But like you see something like a kraken sitting in orbit overhead. Oh shit,
we're being invaded.
Yeah, I mean honestly, that would be an interesting level to where if there was like a level or two that switched your perspective away from main character to where you just like your character like goes to sleep, you get the fade to black, screen comes back up, you wake up and you're in this cozy little farmstead, and
so like
you got
that
some
one
guy
episode of
hey,
I got an idea. that works for you. Have in-game news channels that portray what you're talking about. So you as the character, like you're playing the game
it from the character's perspective.
Well, you look up and you see the character, you go, huh, I wonder what's going on. So you turn into your local news channel, and that's where you get the perspective of like the normal civilian people are like, oh my God, there's a Carrick,
honestly, that would be really interesting. Or something like
you as the player are kind of like, you've done Squadron42, right? You're a retiree of the UAE Navy, so you're experienced with that. You're like, dude, that was just a Carrick, man. Chill out, everybody. But
yeah,
you have the news channels in game kind of giving you that perspective of what other people who don't have the battle experience or are players perceive those bigger ships moving around like. That could be interesting.
Also, too, in like Squadron42, also, if you were to go and have like you just like got back from a mission, or like it's like a couple days after a mission, you're sitting in the cafeteria just chatting with some of your buddies after a meal, and then you hear like some guys like, hey, turn that news broadcast up. I got family over there. Everyone kind of hushes down, and you hear them talking about, there was some invasion or some incident on such and such colony or such and such planet, and then it pulls you into you're seeing you're experiencing first person the raid or the attack or whatever else, and then you jump back to your character of, hey, we're going over there, we're going to go and try to help. Something like that would be pretty interesting.
Yeah. Well, also you need don't forget you have the reason for the what is it, the Sen? No, that's the scientific one. What's the news van?
Mako.
Reliance.
Yeah, the Reliant Mako?
I forget.
Mako, whatever, yeah.
Look,
but anyways, like that's your reason du jour for them, is that they're the ones providing those camera feeds for whatever's going on. And that's where orgs could be like, yeah, we pulled off a big enough heist that we actually got onto like the in-game news.
And obviously, Tony Z talked, and CIG in general has talked about wanting all the news feeds and stuff to show in real time events that are happening in diverse.
Yeah.
And also like even stuff for like economy things, like the screens at the business district in Hurston, where it's like a stock exchange. They want all those screens to show real statistics of the economy in real time.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Right now,
I think you have to have it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a choice of, we want it. I think they have to have it, because if they're going to have trading, people,
I mentioned it because they also have news screens in that same location, and it's just the same news cycling because that screen. But in the future, it would be real time news happening. Like, and maybe like this just in, there's been a breakout at the Glacier rehabilitation facility. 2 inmates have broken out and are now on the loose. We advise that everyone stay calm, and if you see anything, report it. Call your local authority, something like that. And that's just something like, okay, 2 prisoners broke out of the prison on Aberdeen.
So how do I'm all for it. Like I think that it adds to immersion and makes the universe interesting and fun. But at the same time, I'm wondering how do you fund that? Because that basically means you have to have some in real life people sitting there, generating those stories. It not necessarily generating, like you might be just reacting to what players are doing in game, but you have to create the news feed. You know what I mean?
Well, it would depend how CIG wants to do it. One that could have all the news feeds could be generated from a NPC, i.e. you have a NPC character that CIG puts into the crowd, wherever the crowd might be, and this NPC is recording. Either, it's their Moby Glass, they have a camera drone.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Whatever the case might be.
But you still have to have a CIG employee place that AI is what I'm pointing out.
Yes.
In other words, you have to have a news team in real life controlling kind of how the news gets collected is what I was pointing out.
Well, it would depend how they're collecting data, because among other things too,
That's true.
One possibility could be, for example, let's say you have some org goes and pulls off some, let's say an org takes a Kraken over to Klesher, and they just fucking destroy the place and pull their people out of there. Like, they don't even bother like infiltrating or sneaking their guys. So they just fucking kick down the front door, blast anyone that moves that they don't like, grab their guys and maybe a couple other guys they made friends with, and off they go. CIG could then go and, if they wanted to, like after the fact, a week later, let's say they have a content team dedicated to the news.
Yeah.
And a week later, so they're able to see from just the stats, the stat tracking. Hey, Cluster was attacked. Like they just kicked in the front door. Here's all the units that were in the area. So you
Let's
can see,
do a
okay,
story.
they had a Kraken, they had a Nova tank or whatever else. What kills were made, what hits were done. They can see all that, and so they could from there recreate in a generic sense what happened.
Hey, we got
And
the
that
security
could be their
feed
news story.
footage.
So
And
they wouldn't
who's to
necessarily
say
need
images are needed?
actual footage of this person dodged to the left and they dodged to the right and then they did a half circle. They don't need that, but they
No.
can get a general sense of this is what happened.
Hell, they don't even need.
No, that makes sense.
They don't even need images. They can just have like a freaking news reporter in front of them. Have just stills, right? They don't need the recording.
Yeah, that too.
They can just have still
Too.
images.
Yeah. No, I agree with. I like what Cam's saying because I didn't think about how Quanta could be used, but yeah, they could see like the spikes and who's traveling where and get an idea. Like, hey guys, we got it. Somebody's got a frigate on the move. Let's keep an eye on that.
Yep.
It doesn't mean that they need to actually go there, but they get an idea like, hey, these guys are moving in. Oh, hey, it's, and they've got the data. They can tell who it belongs,
Because they got all the
hey, this
backend
belongs to
systems.
so-and-so
They have the mind's eye,
organization.
right?
Sorry?
They have the mind's eye of the games.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, they could totally do that, and they could just make it, like you were saying. It doesn't even need to be live footage, but it's enough to create a news story, for a in-game TV monitor of just, a news person saying, this is what's going on, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah,
and if they also too, they could go and easily get like, they make a mock-up. Yeah, that's here's footage. Here's a brief view of, and they go and they do a quick little mock-up. But if they're just doing audio reports, that would take someone who has access to Quanta
that'd be really
and
easy.
a couple of voice actors. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yep. Absolutely.
They don't even need to show a reporter. Just like maybe some images and that's it.
And I mean, how hard would it be to make an in-game NPC for your reporter? Not that hard. It'd be like the fucking news reports you got in Mass Effect 1 going in the elevator.
Yeah. It's doable. Now that we kind of flushed it out, yeah, absolutely. I could see that totally being easy to do in a real life. Sorry?
No, and this is, I think, I agree 100%. This is definitely doable. I think it could be.
And I mean, if you want an MMO to last, they're gonna have to have a little bit of a staff anyway. So
right, obviously.
What's one or two people who just kind of keep abreast of what's going on in the game and keep the community informed. Oh wait, there's a name for that, isn't there?
Yeah.
No.
I think they just moved to England.
No.
Anyways.
Content feature team.
Community manager, I think.
Community team, yeah.
No.
It's a weird term I've heard somewhere. I don't know. Have yet
all
seen
the
it
teams
used.
I just listed are relevant in that context. And that they keep the game and sustain it. Make sure it runs. But yeah, like another thing is, as you said, like also we're talking about an MMO. One of the best ways to keep people interested is make a living universe.
Yeah.
No.
I think Cam's record player is broken.
Maybe.
No, I think Cam's broken.
Probably.
It's always been broken. Thankfully, he's housebroken, so we don't have to worry about anything.
Sometimes.
When I feel like it. But yeah, it's well, I mean, here's the thing. I think you'd be hard pressed to find a game that was more open sandbox, and because it didn't try and be a game, it just went, here's some tools, go at it. And that was the Star Wars MMO, where people are just like running around, building their own little home base, and then figuring out how to craft sand necklaces to sell to other people to make credits to get to the next improved weapon stat
Yeah, there
kind
wasn't
of a thing.
really an
Like
infrastructure to that.
Sorry?
I said there wasn't really an infrastructure built into that game.
Right, but that was the whole point, is it let people build what they wanted, which is why people love the game so much, because it was like, I built a house on Tatooine, and like, I lived the Star Wars dream. Maybe not your dream, I lived my dream, but I did it in the Star Wars universe. And to some degree, you're going to have some of that in Star Citizen if you want people to long term keep playing it. I'm not saying short term isn't going to be popular, but long term, you need that kind of diversity of just the little
Being
things
able
like
to
we're
fuck off
talking
and
about.
do what you want.
Exactly. Not just, you have to all funnel through this Stargate and be worried about getting attacked by pirates every single time you travel anywhere. Like that gets old after a while, right?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
So that's all I was trying to point out.
That was some of the problems that Cam and I were talking about last week. Jumptown was that, like, there's only one entrance.
Yeah.
Well,
It's-
And it's
one
an
entrance,
airlock,
there's no
so you
cover.
know whenever someone's. The only time you're
And
not is if you're alone, and you're not in the main room. You know, like that. But if you're doing Jumptown, you're probably
Yeah.
not alone. You know what I mean? So it's like,
And it's scheduled. So you know that, like, everyone knows at this time, be here to get this. Like, to me, part of what made the original Jumptown fun was you actually never knew. Like, I'd say probably half of the time I showed up there wasn't a single person around. And I was like, woohoo! You know, you're still scared shitless as you're running around doing your thing, and nobody ever shows up, but the whole time you're freaking out because they could, at any second, show up, and you just don't know. And, like, that was part of the fun of it. Like, it made your heart race. Whereas if it's a scheduled event and everyone knows, then you're like, somebody's coming. I absolutely know somebody's coming. Like,
or it's just an all-out war by the time you get there.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not bothering.
Exactly.
Because you're never gonna get through it.
Exactly. They don't get me wrong. The Jumptown 2.0, it's a good mission in the sense that it's a mission. It's something to do. Could it be done better? Yes.
Absolutely.
Is it Jumptown? Absolutely not.
Well,
in some cases,
Jumptown
literally.
version 1, no.
Yeah, in some cases, literally, because it wasn't actually at Jumptown. Because it was on a different route.
Yeah. You know what I mean.
I know.
But see, here's the thing, and this is where I kind of had this when Tony Zervik said something back at the SitCon, that was the first time I've ever had concern of anything that Tony Zervik has said, and that was when he said that he didn't like original Jumptown because it wasn't controlled. And that's when I like instantly I was like, oh shit, that's not good. And we see his control over Jumptown 2.0, which it's still a good mission, but it's not what made Jumptown. Yeah, exactly.
What's funny is that his control led to more chaos than the original Jumptown. In that the original Jumptown, the three of us, we've taken it on foot.
Yeah.
Like, we went in on foot and we've taken it. You could not do that in this new Jumptown 2. That was one of my main problems with it. Like, just the lack of really anything other than ship combat game. No FPS gameplay, no. Unless you're inside the bunker, but I'm not counting that or inside the outpost, because obviously you can't ship or vehicle outpost. But like the lack of, and also ground vehicle combat, right? Because they flattened the terrain to accommodate ground vehicles for use of them. With the Spartan and tank now, except
I never saw a tank.
I never saw the only Spartan. The only ground vehicle I saw was the one I brought.
I've never seen a ground vehicle, but I have seen it on other YouTube streamers' channels of them using vehicles at Jumptown, and every single time they did, those vehicles got wiped out.
Right. Because
Like,
the
it's
entire thing
just
was about
not
air
good.
superiority, which is fine, it makes sense, but the fact that it was
Right.
only air superiority, you couldn't do anything else from a gameplay standpoint.
They
sucks.
need to figure out where ground vehicles fit in, because right now they don't. Like there is no viability right now for ground vehicles as is. Zero.
I think you're right, but I think what it's going to be is that ground vehicles still use all the statistics of air vehicles, and I think what they're going to end up doing is just nerfing the F out of all ground vehicle signatures to the point where you're going to have line of sight in a limited distance, like 1 or 2 kilometers at maximum,
I'd be fine
to
with
to
that,
pick up
honestly.
a radar signature off of them. Sorry?
I would be fine with that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think
I'm hoping
different
my
vehicles should
Pisces
have
can get
different
that.
ones. Yeah. I don't know, but I think that's why the vehicles are in the state that they're in, is because they didn't realize just how, like, somebody didn't study your world history of combat and realize why the airplane changed warfare so dramatically. Like, all it takes is one tiny little airplane to fuck up a column of tanks. You know,
Yep.
it's
Absolutely.
it's crazy. So, but back to what Mando was originally saying. To me, original Jumptown was the authentic old, like, early 1800s Wild Wild West. Like, no shit, there is no law. Your pistol and your wits is all that you have to survive on.
It's all
And
you need.
Jumptown 2 was
You needed
the
to have a
Pentagon
heavy shit.
trying to run a Bay of Pigs fucking organized insurgency war that just absolutely failed because they got involved. Like, that's to me, that's Jumptown 2.0.
Yeah, that sounds alright.
I mean, Jumptown 2.0, yeah, again, it's like you needed XYZ in order to do it. Whereas Jumptown 1, you can do it yourself. I mean, it's not wise, but it's possible.
Yeah, exactly.
Here, it was impossible.
You
and
want
Or
to
at
risk
least
it.
very, very, very plausible.
that's one thing I definitely dislike with some of the newer content that
Probable.
CIG's been putting out, is that it feels like it's much more punishing you for doing certain things. It's like there should always be risks involved, but those risks should be greater and lesser risks, and it shouldn't be just that, well, if you don't play the way we say, then risk is just huge.
Which is
Yeah.
funny also because meanwhile you have the main missions, right? Like just typical missions from your public class, like the bounty hunting mission and the mercenary missions, FPS stuff. And a lot of the FPS missions now, especially, like, you know, the bunker missions, you kind of have to do those with a buddy because if you're incapacitated, then you're kind of screwed. And the problem, though,
But that's
is
if the AI
they
is
don't-
working.
Right.
Otherwise, you can go single-handedly in your underwear and karate chop everyone.
Yeah. Well, I've done that with the caves because the caves aren't as good as in the bunkers because of the terrain. But
They haven't learned terrain.
I haven't learned. They're still mapping that. That's part of the monthly report, which we'll get. But the missions, they don't pay enough really to do in a group. Like, we have a group of 4 people. Let's do a mission together. Except we have to do like 17 for everyone to really get a good cut. Because the mission pays 15,000 credits and split 4 ways is not a lot of money.
I understand you, Mando. Absolutely understand you. But guys, look at CIG's track record of implementing new features and how they went about doing that. It's like every time you start, Jumptown 2.0 is their newest baby, so all the focus is going on that, and that's why nothing else is going to compare to them. You know, for payouts, for
The
mission
payout was still
success, for
shit.
how quick it turns over, like all that stuff. Like, they're not
They
going to fix
nerfed the
cargo
payout.
hauling. Yeah, it's not.
which was
But
terrible.
you remember when they first started out with pirate interdiction? They're like, we just want to see how this will work, and you'd get pulled over by like 16 different caterpillars making one run from
From
Olisar
Crusader,
to Daymar. Like, it was like that for a month, and then 6 weeks into it, they finally dialed it back to you're only getting interdicted 4 times, and then it took another 3 months after that to, hey, now it actually is, I can make it across the map without being interdicted sometimes. Like, it's the way they do things, and it's gonna be fucked up. I hate to say it, but that's the way they operate. Like,
You're not
bunker
wrong,
missions and
unfortunately.
bunker missions and going and getting your assigned missions from your mission givers.
Yep. And you're absolutely
Those
right.
are like, they've already been done, so we're not going to fuck with those. So those are just going to be trashed, and we're going to try and funnel you towards whatever the new hot coolness is that we want to get data off
Right,
of.
and
Like,
look, and they are still building the game out, and you're absolutely right. My
Yeah.
point was that it doesn't feel like it promotes the main missions that you get. At least they don't feel like
They
they
don't.
promote group play,
They don't.
and that's what bothers me. I like playing
Yeah.
with a group. That's why I have you guys around.
That's why I started out like, I support you 100%. I understand what you're saying, but just looking at the track record of how CIG, develops, we're fucked. Like, they're not going to go back and change that anytime soon. They are doing that. They are trying to disincentivize you doing that because they want you to go do this so they can collect the data from it to figure out how to tweak it again, and then they're going to move on to the next thing, and we're going to be left going, fuck, we just finally got this to the point where we want to use it, and now you don't want us to use it because there's a new thing you want us to use.
I do wish for that kind of stuff, that CIG would just come out and say, hey, we would really like to go and collect data from XYZ.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like just tell us, because then it's like, because also
Yeah.
too, among other things, people are going to go, irregardless of if there is money support for it or not.
Do reverse
people will
psychology.
go
Tell
and
us
do it.
not to do it.
Yeah, that too.
Guys,
Tell us
don't
not to
jump
do
into
it.
the
We'll go
center
do
of
it.
Crusader.
I'm with you, Cam. Like, I totally agree. Like, if they would just speak up, but when they've been asked about that, like why they don't do that, they've kind of hemmed and hawed about like, well, we don't want you guys to affect like you guys knowing what you're trying to do to affect the data that we're getting, and I don't agree with that. I think that's bullshit. But
It's essentially
Yeah.
Cam and I were
Okay.
talking about this exact thing last week, and I agree. Yeah, essentially this is an alpha, right? And we're building out the game. Give us pointers on what you want us to test out, so that we can focus on testing that for you. But you then have the data from those tests, and then you can proceed from there.
Agree 100%. I would log in more often because that gives me a reason to do it. Like,
you have an incentive and a purpose once you log in, right? Like, okay, I'm testing A. Okay, I've tested A. I can log off for today. I'll test it in a week. This way you have like a weekly whatever.
Well, it also lets me know that, like, by going and doing that, my data will be collected, whether they tell me they are or not. In a sense, so like, if they don't tell me this, and all I'm doing is just logging in to go do my own thing in the asteroid belt, I'm just fucking around. I don't know if they're taking my data and just going, oh, we don't need that, so throw it out, or never even paid attention to it. Or are they actually collecting my data? I don't know. But if they tell me, hey, if you go over here and you do this, we're looking for data, I'll go do it because I'm going, hey, they're going to collect my data.
I'm looking for data too.
Huh?
I said, I'm looking for data too. Where is he?
Yeah, go find data.
Come on, boy.
But yeah,
go find him. Where'd he fall into the well?
Are you saying he's in the well? In the data well?
Well.
He's on an asteroid belt. Bark twice if it's the third one in the Aaron belt.
Bark.
Bark, bark?
All right. Well, anyway,
But yeah,
so last week, should we do the PU? Let's do the reports first. So we got the November and December 2021 studio reports for the PU and for Squadron42.
Could we just sum it up as they did stuff?
Pretty much. I mean, I just want to say that they worked on obviously some stuff like AI feature stuff like fixing the bartender behavior and AI tech. So essentially the behaviors for the AI in general and adding more, shall we say, immersive AI elements where the AI function or at least attempts to function.
I've seen two different. Sorry. I've seen two different read-throughs, like complete read-throughs of the monthly reports, just in the past few days, and the biggest thing that I saw was twice they mentioned that they're working on salvage. That was what I walked away with.
The biggest things is pyro, salvage, and hacking. Those are the three biggest things that people are talking about from the studio report.
Yeah, but it's still just like, hey, they didn't give specifics, so we don't know exactly what.
No,
but it's just that it's in work.
They were mentioned,
exactly.
And that was it.
Yep.
And they also mentioned, like right here, they mentioned the all-new vehicle progress through the white box, while the Bennu Merchantman progressed towards gray box. The Scorpius is also being moved to white box before gray box. So yeah, like these things are mentioned. The Drake Vulture is mentioned. Corsair is mentioned, being in the move to gray box. All things. So like yeah, you got a lot of ships we mentioned that are being developed or planned for late this year. That's first off makes sense, but also it's good. Audio, they're doing some passes on the audio for all ships already in game, like the Ares and the Redeemer draft. But yeah, really, it's just again, I mean, that's the point of this, is they're telling you what they're working on in detail and specifics. But in the case of salvage, hacking, and pyro, not so much specifics, just generalizations. But I can understand why, especially at least in pyro's case. Because that is huge. Like that would need its entire own report.
Well, I think we're getting pyro this year.
It's planned along with static server meshing.
Yeah, like what I'm saying, I don't mean like what they planned. I'm saying I think we're actually gonna get it. Like get it.
I think so. If not Q3, then Q4.
Yeah, I think it'll be right in that
area, like from anywhere from September to December.
Well, I'll put it this way: I think that would make a great culmination of this year, of the year's show being, pyro is now open for all.
Oh, like at the end of CitizenCon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I couldn't think of the word CitizenCon, sorry. But yeah, I think that would be a culmination showstopper of SitCon, is like, cool, now that you've listened to us babble for the past day, go into pyro. Because, last year was, hey, look what pyro is going to look like. And then, boom, a year later, we open the doors to it for you.
That would be very climactic, a good ending.
Yeah, right? A good successful closure of their SitCon, I think. And get people talking.
Oh, they do talk about like stuff like they're looking into issues and stuff that players are experiencing in patches, like in a render issue in Alpha 3.15. Like, again, that's the whole point. Like, and for those who are interested, I do recommend reading. It does have a lot of good information. But yeah, the biggest things are, the ships making it to white box or gray box. Pyro obviously being worked on, which we already knew, because they mentioned it in the report for like the last year, and hacking and salvage. as well as the AI work, because they mention that in every report, but it's still important. The biggest thing that actually caught my eye in the studio report was the UI stuff. How they're working on new HUDs, specifically the star map, the Aegis
Star
HUD,
map, yes,
and the
absolutely
Origin
needed.
HUD, like the ship HUDs, and which I think are good as they are right now. Not obviously not end goal, but like that's a good baseline to work off of. But actually, they're making the ship manufacturer specific HUDs, and so far they're working on Aegis and Origin. But the star map and AR markers are being worked on, like new star map and AR markers, and I'm like, oh,
please,
finally! And they're gonna be
dear Lord,
they're gonna be using building blocks. It's gonna be great.
give
Hopefully.
me a good working star map, please, God, please.
Well, just to read this small excerpt here. Progress was made on the core tech and feature set of new star map. For example, they added display controls to modify relative distance, orientation, and scale, for ability to frame selected objects appropriately. UI tech continued to work on core technology for hacking, adding the ability to select and edit text in the UI. The new building blocks editor. Yeah, so yeah, essentially that's where the hacking is meant. But,
well, also remember that like the map, whatever map system they come up with, has to be able to account for gravitational physics, because we're supposed to have planets, rotating around suns, with moons rotating around those planets, and asteroids around those moons,
and with building blocks that will be possible.
But the real question is magnets. How do they work?
Dude, that's magic. Prove
it's
to me that magnets are not magic.
57.
I'm sorry, but the answer was 42. You have been disqualified. Now take your leave.
3. Oh shit, that's a scorpion.
Sweet.
Fallout.
Yes.
Well, while Cam gets disemboweled by a red scorpion,
he was very friendly, except for the disemboweling part.
Right.
I will say the one thing I'm not happy with this monthly update is there's still no compass.
Yes.
We have one on the ship HUDs.
And worse.
You know what I mean, Mando.
I know. I'm just saying we have one.
And worse, there's still no star map update. They talked about it in some of the progress reports, but we still, God, do we need a star map update?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, they said they're working on it in the studio report.
So that means they sent somebody out to get coffee to think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hey, intern, while you're out getting coffee, just go and give this a think or two.
Actually, like, hey,
okay,
draw out what the new map will look like.
Yeah. Now, what would totally like make me feel
fuzzy
totally at ease and successful, despite whatever Cam says, would be if they said, and the German studio is now working on a star map. I'd be like, okay, cool, we're good.
Right. It's essentially like just give us more.
But only if it was a German studio.
Well, yeah, because I mean they're the ones who like created planetary tech. After everyone else said we're gonna have to go this other route because it can't be done, and the German team was like, oh yeah, no, we took 2 weeks and we put this together, and hey, here you go. Here's your planetary tech that lets you go from foot on the ground to the sun.
Or does it?
So y'all remember that? That was what, 2017, 2016?
Yeah.
When they first did they're like, oh yeah, we revamped all the planetary tech because of what Germany, the German studio, Frankfurt, was able to do. And it's just like, damn. Okay, now we got a game.
Daniel?
Damn busters.
Really too.
What are you gonna call Tam Buster? When something's not legal.
But yeah. But yeah, if
I had a. Sorry, go on.
No, go ahead. I was just BSing.
I was gonna say I had I think I still have on my Steam profile a thing that says like, if everything around you is exploding, that's probably us.
Yeah. I always like it was the Marine Corps Harrier squadron that had a shirt that was like their motto was, if it absolutely positively must be destroyed overnight, call us.
Does it have to be overnight? Do you do same day delivery?
Only if we're in theater.
Not outpatient.
Okay,
but yeah,
what's theater?
For anyone that wants to read the studio reports, it's all linked in the description.
I think Mando just gave up on doing the report.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
There's also the Squadron42 stuff, which actually has interesting AI feature stuff regarding the Vanduul combat, and I love me. Well,
okay.
I love me killing the Vanduul, in which I hope to do someday.
Just for FYI, I am not up to speed on this part. So whatever my reactions are actually no shit my reactions. I'm not trying to get a rise out of you. I'm not trying to play devil's advocate. Like, this is just, oh, interesting, you know? Or I don't like that.
The Vanduul are all going to be swinging dildo bats at you, and
what is?
I don't like that.
No,
they keep saying they're going to penetrate me.
Stranger danger, stranger danger. I also think we need to start a new decades phrase. Like, you remember, the 80s was just say no to drugs. I think we need to say just say no to stupid.
The problem is there's so much of it.
Exactly, but I mean, it was the same with drugs back in the 80s.
You're not wrong.
But anyways, driving on. Go ahead, Squadron42.
Let's see. Vanduul combat section of gameplay was completed, where enemy perception is reduced when searching for the player. This led to discussions of how to implement low visibility and other sense reductions across the board, because obviously Vanduul are not human. Initial implementation of this specific gameplay use will be used as a springboard for fully developing the Vanduul perception investigation progressed as well. So essentially, they're working on the Vanduul's AI and how they perceive the enemy, the player, as well.
I would really like.
Which I like. I guess they're going for a more animalistic approach with them, which makes sense to how they look visually in their biology that we know of so far.
But I'd like their senses to actually be I would like their senses to either dictate the way they look, or their looks to dictate the senses as far as like the capabilities of those senses. What I wouldn't want them to do is like, notice how the current model that we have, they have like those super flat noses. So I think their sense of smell should be either on par with us or less. But maybe because they have bigger eyes, they have better vision. Like that.
Well, they are
that's
lizard
one
creatures
thing I'm hoping
too.
for.
So, and lizards aren't really known for their eyesight so much. Well, not their.
No, because like look at chameleons. Like they can go 360 and they can like see a fly.
But it's their
on the other wall.
Depth perception.
Sorry.
That's depth perception. They're essentially it's they have a different way of seeing than we do.
Yeah. But and so that's why I'd be okay with them having better visual. But like, if they have small, tiny little slits, that make for a very narrow nose, maybe they shouldn't have really good, smelling sense. Is all I'm getting at. Like, I would like to see whatever they come up with. I just don't want them to go, the AI is going to have super smell because that's how they find you in the fog. Like, does that make sense?
We're just going to make the xenomorph from Alien Isolation. Good luck.
Yeah.
That's what I fucked. Although, to be fair,
because you think about it, that also gives them a reason to make different types of creatures throughout the different systems.
Essentially, enemy variety. Just simply put, enemy variety.
Yep.
Yeah, they also worked on animations for the Van Duel and stuff like that, as well as even human combat, because you will be fighting humans in Squadron42 as well.
Does that
Talk about
include
how
the
the-
dildo bat swinging animation?
Yes. Very
Cool.
important, that.
And the micro dildo. It's a dagger. Animation wise, also, they talked about the facial animation teams worked on stuff, level design and story, gameplay story worked alongside the level design team to and correct various story scenes that play throughout the gameplay. They did a lot of cutscene stuff. Also, character art team completed the Navy faction, which involved updating and finalizing characters and outfits. Considering how the Navy makes up around half of all characters in the campaign, with the majority being hero tier characters, so it will be a significant milestone when complete.
My only comment is I want to see less cutscenes and more join scenes.
Yeah. Also, AFK.
I hope they stay true to what they showed in 2017, where it's like whatever you do will determine the cutscene in a way. Like if you if you don't go to X location as Y is happening, cutscene that would be associated there would not happen. Go there to see.
Oh, I think that's guaranteed. Like that's Chris Roberts to the core. It's like what you do changes the outcome. Like that's what he's been trying to do since day one, is create that kind of dynamic game that actually shows the effects of your action and reaction throughout the process.
Because also that type of stuff literally just begs for replay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if done well, you can replay this game endlessly. Like, or even obviously, like you can run through all of them, right, and get every single cutscene. Maybe not in one playthrough, but like you would be able to have seen every cutscene. Like, but now it's like, oh, I want to get it in a specific order. I want to get this cutscene and try to get that. It's like you can make a game. And not just in the cutscene stuff. Obviously, there's gonna be actual gameplay consequences to your choices and actions and stuff like that as well. But just the idea.
Yeah, you've had major studios like market games specifically for that capability.
Yeah.
Look at what you just mentioned. I can't think of the word right now. Mass Effect. Like the whole idea was you can play as two different types of character, as male or female, and your decisions will have a different. Will show you a different ending each time. Like that was their marketing scheme. So
and that's RPGs in a nutshell. So.
Yeah, it's to be expected nowadays. Like your game doesn't do that? Oh. That's my opinion.
There's a lot regarding the optimization and rendering and all the graphic stuff, which I'm not going to go into right now, just because, as well as the engine stuff in general. Because, well,
one question though.
That's like someone who's better, who just knows it more, should go into that. I'm not well versed in all.
Do we have a compass in the game?
None of
Just asking.
Not yet.
I'm not going to play Squadron42 if I don't have a compass. That's all I'm saying.
We need to clip that and just make it dear CIG, give us compass.
Yeah.
Gib. We had Gib. Gib compass.
Yep. Gib compass. Gib player compass.
I'm running that.
Yeah, and have like a homeless veteran, like sitting on the side of the launch pad with like his homeless sign that says "Gib player compass." Oh, that'd be good. That would be so good. Sorry, go on. Did you cut me off? You guys just left me, didn't you?
No, okay. I'm writing it down so it's on the screen. I see how it is.
You want that? Like, if you want to get under CIG's skin and create like player change, memes are the way to do it, because CIG does. Somebody else pointed this out, and they are correct. CIG hates memes. They do not want to be caught.
I'd rather they hated them than the other way around.
Yeah, true. But if you want to affect change, that's the way to do it.
Don't hate them. Like, we've seen what happens. Yes, I'm putting Gib Compass on the screen. God damn it, Gib Carrick was so popular.
Do it.
It's stuck in my head.
I triple dog dare you. Can't top that.
Quadruple dog dare?
No, doesn't exist in the world of dare.
Font?
Triple dog dare is the highest you can go.
Impact. We want this to make an impact, right?
There you go.
Where is the outline? Sorry, I'm just messing around here.
Yeah, like the whole idea of them being into like Jumptown 2.0 and FPS and all this shit, just to me is complete BS, because they haven't given us a compass. If they really did want us to do FPS and do all this combat stuff, they would have given us a compass. Like, if they were serious about it, they would give us the tools that we need to do FPS, which is, hey, Bob, look to your left. Well, what direction is Bob facing compared to what direction you're facing? Your left and his left aren't the same left. Like, you need to be able to say, look at 096 degrees. And then Bob looks at 096 and it's the same 096 as yours. Guess what? Bob can see what you're seeing. Like, that's how you have an effective fire team. Until you have that compass, you're not an effective fire team. Unless you all walk around in a straight line together.
How do you coordinate without coordinates, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, dear CIG, give compass.
It's just
also we got Simple Jack Live and Victor in the chat, both saying hello.
Hello.
Yeah, the Squadron42 stuff. Yeah. Obviously they're talking about more NPC stuff and design. Again, they're working on it. Essentially, in a nutshell. Obviously, the audio team talked about the story. Well, actually, not talk about the actual story itself. Spoiler.
And for anyone who's interested, the story is out there on the internet. You got to dig for it, but it's there if you want to spoil yourself. Because basically they got all the some people were digging around in CIG's files and got all the audio files and pieced it all together. And so they basically have an audio version of the full storyline, at least for the first chapter, which is what the first release of Squadron42 is going to be. So it's out there. If you really want to know, I don't, but if you really want to know, you can go find it out.
No, I'd rather not know because I want to go into it blind playing it. Experience it for myself. Obviously, and also they're talking about using the building blocks for the UI. And they mentioned hacking here as well. Pretty much a lot of this stuff, it's pretty much everything we talked about with the PU studio report, but is in the Squadron report as well, except with some additional stuff regarding the Squadron42 related specifics, like the story and cutscene, Bandul, and so on. But yeah, that's pretty much it with the studio report. Like, at least broad band overview of it.
That'll be interesting.
And if you want to read this all for yourself, again, links in the description for it. Is
I can't.
It's good, but it's I can't. Yeah, who can read, right?
That's why I want a compass.
We're all illiterate degenerates. That's why we're saying give compass.
That's next generation.
What was that?
We still have schools right now, but the next generation will have closed those down.
Yeah. Victor in the chat saying, I have great and or terrible news about myself. Oh, I am sorry and or happy for you.
Can't you be both at the same time?
Sorry and happy for you?
I'm mediocre. They balance out, right?
I guess. I don't think they cross-cancel like that, but sure. What else is in the PTU, by the way? I haven't given the patch notes a thorough going over yet.
I don't know. I haven't done the PTU. So that's like, I generally try and stay away from the PTU, just because it's, to me, that's when it's the jankiest, and it's also when you've got the most amount of people all trying to like elbow their way in there, and just it makes for craziness. So I usually wait till it's just the regular PU. Then it's easier to find a shard of yourself, for your own testing.
Today is it's Victor's birthday. Happy birthday, Victor.
Happy 1 year closer to death, Victor.
Yes. You're 1 year closer to the grave, like the rest of us.
Yep. Might be further out, but you're still one closer.
Well, I mean, he said he's 17 to be exact, so he's much further out, but doesn't change the fact.
Look, observe what we're doing wrong and don't do it. That's all I'm gonna say.
Learn from our mistakes. So pretty much everything we do.
That actually, like, when I was working, that was one poster I always kept on my wall was mistake, and it showed like a crashed super tanker on like some Irish coastline like island, smashed to pieces, and it says, it could be that your purpose in life is to serve as a warning to others.
I've seen that. You ever go to demotivational posters?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah,
it was
I love those things.
Yeah.
Like some people are destined for greatness. Others are destined to serve free fries. Like stuff like that. It's like, yeah, definitely demotivational.
Yeah. What is it? Never underestimate the stupidity of a group.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a whole list of them. Yep, that was back in like 2000.
Never underestimate a group of stupid people, or something along the line.
Yeah, and there's if you go to I think it is demotivational posters or something like that. They had, I remember back in the day, they had probably like good 60, 70 different types of posters. And they were all those kind of stuff. Those were good. But anyways. Anywho.
Great stuff.
Good stuff. I guess Cam just said.
He's probably busy getting murdered by freaking rad scorpions.
Oh, gotcha.
Victor says, so yeah, he's 1 year older, 17 to be exact, as of today. He's in a pretty good mood. And now he's telling me, Mando, to respect you, I shall vigorously learn from your mess of a life.
Good luck, Victor. Good luck. That's all I can say. Good luck. Since we're on the idea of quotes,
that made my day.
What was it? Indiana Jones. Was it the third movie?
Last Crusade.
He chose poorly.
Yes.
Speaking of funny, actually, I was having a conversation with somebody else yesterday, and they reminded me of just something, a really funny clip from way back in the day. I'm going to say a name here, and I realize that this person is not a popular person now, and rightfully so. But let's remove ourselves from the current day mind think, and let's recognize that maybe back in the day, this person was pretty funny and was doing some hilarious ass shit. And you may want to go check it out. But it's Kevin Spacey impersonating Christopher Walken, who's auditioning for the role of Han Solo. And it's like a 30, maybe a minute-long skit that was done on Saturday Night Live back in the 80s. Worth checking out. Pretty funny.
Oh, they have a lot of good old SNL.
Oh, fucking hilarious, man.
First off,
but
anything
so
with Phil...
politically incorrect.
Oh, yeah, but fuck political correctness. I mean,
yeah.
Anything with Phil Hartman was just great.
Oh, dude, even before that, I go back to I go back to like Eddie Murphy.
I think that would be the end. Like that's when they that was the last of their good stuff. Like Phil Hartman, because
yeah. Hartman was the tail end of the good times. Yeah, absolutely.
My God,
but dude, Eddie Murphy had Stevie Wonder like come on and go, excuse me, I want to audition, like, to see if I can sing that song. And Eddie's like, yeah, go ahead, let's see what you got. And, Stevie belts it out. Basically, Eddie goes, yeah, no, you suck, dude. And this is Stevie Wonder, who at the time was just, the guy can sing. I don't care what you think of him personally, but the man's got a voice. You gotta
separate the art from the artist, right?
Yeah.
But the
you're getting botted.
Yeah, I took care of the bots. Dang bots. Second time in this stream alone. The last stream we got like 7. We get more bot viewers than we do human viewers.
That's you should capitalize on that.
How?
Like collect them all up and then find a way to nuke them while they're all here.
Or reprogram them and send them back into the world. Or reprogram.
There you go. Look into the light.
World domination, step 1.
Yeah.
Take other people's bots and send them back out. No, what was it? Remember the Eddie Murphy where he pretends to be a white guy?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That was great.
Or when he impersonated Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood.
Yes. Oh my God. I think it's Mr. Robinson.
Well, it's Mr. Yeah.
Mr. Robinson.
But like
that.
Hey,
my favorite
boys and girls, welcome to my neighborhood.
Yes.
Why did you come here?
Hello,
boom, boom, boom. Open up in there. Okay, boys and girls, Mr. Robinson has to go now.
The best was the Christmas one because it's Xmas.
Yeah.
And then it's like, you know what else, Ryan? You know what else starts with X? X-Con.
Yeah. Yeah. There is such a long list of good ones.
And now it's time to escape.
Yeah.
There's no escape
I got
for
to
you.
go out the window now. Or back when God, I can't think of his fucking name right now. The Mask and Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey.
When he played the lifeguard, and it's like it's a 3-foot wide fucking kiddie pool, and he's on like he's blowing the whistle like, do not splash. He's using a bullhorn, and he's like standing a foot away. Anyway,
I have the I think it's the collection 1972 and 73 of SNL.
Oh, nice.
It's still on on VHS, of course, because
You only have the complete collection.
I still have a VHS player.
I think the 70s and the 80s were probably the absolute best for Saturday Night Live.
Yes.
And then in the 90s is when it started dying because they just,
What about Yeah, I mean, look, you had even in the 90s you had good stuff like Norm Macdonald.
Yeah, but it was more and more hit or miss. Whereas I think the end of the 70s, like the beginning of the 70s was the same thing, kind of hit or miss. They were starting to find their stride. And then mid 70s, they really get it. The 80s, they're just solid almost all the way through.
They grew their beard, right? That's what they call it.
Yeah.
Because Star Trek TOS, TNG, Riker grew the beard, all of a sudden the show started becoming good.
And then they shaved it off. You know, in the 90s is where you start to kind of get like, okay, you know, there was a couple good.
It was still good, but it was nosediving in quality. Like it was going downhill. Like that's when the peak.
Yeah.
It peaked and now it's starting to go down.
Yep.
Like, cause like the early, like I would say up to like 93, it was still good, but then like you go further down and like when freaking Whatchamface was. And I'm biased. I don't like this guy, but I don't like him as.
How dare you?
But Step Brothers, whatever.
Step Ladders?
What was it?
No, I'm just joking.
What's the actor's name? He did Step Brothers. He did the Anchorman.
Oh, Will Ferrell?
Yes.
You don't like Will Ferrell, really?
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of him.
Okay.
How dare you?
I mean, I'm not saying he's not, like, you know, I'm not saying he is super, but I think he's pretty good.
I did like him in. You ever watch The Other Guys?
Yep.
I liked him in that.
I mean, I liked him in God, what was the one where he's Frank the Tank? He's living in the frat house. Anyways, good stuff. It's the one where he gets shot in the throat with a tranquilizer dart.
I don't think I've seen that one.
It's got what's his name? The brother. One of the Lucas brothers plays the lead role. But anyways, yeah, they had a lot of good people on SNL, but they in the mid '90s to me is when they started kind of dying.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. Because you had like they were going on a decline, and it was still good, just it wasn't as good as it used to be, and then it just started going like hit. Now it's once every 7 years you have maybe.
I believe Victor is asking Will Ferrell.
I'm misspelling his name probably, but Will Ferrell.
Yeah, I'm probably mispronouncing it as well. It's probably Talladega Nights is one of his big ones.
Okay, that was actually good. That was with Sacha Baron Cohen as the
Yep.
The was it gay adversary or something?
Yeah, he plays a gay Formula One race car driver who comes to NASCAR. Yeah.
Was he Italian, French? I don't even remember.
French. Yeah.
And Sacha Baron Cohen, like whatever it is, it wasn't accurate. But yeah, anyway, back to Star Citizen and games and all that stuff.
What?
So yeah, I guess Squadron.
Oh, now I got ship naming ideas. I'm gonna name my 600 Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood.
No. That's what we're gonna name the outpost.
There you go.
You have to name the ship. I'm Gumby, damn it.
I had forgotten his Gumby skits. Yep.
The Gumby skits are the best.
Oh man. I mean, now I'm flashing back to
wearing the freaking foam suit with the cigar.
Yep.
I'm Gumby, damn it.
Oh man, and a buckwheat.
Buckwheat. Oh my god, buckwheat.
Oh shit. We're gonna get in so much trouble. Anyways.
Oh please.
That
YouTube
you
already
go far enough back, and you've even got like Steve Martin and what's his name from Strange Brew.
If we're gonna go Steve Martin, Toots is the driving cat, man. Toots is the driving cat. The cat that can drive a car. He drives around all over the town.
What about we're two wild and sexy crazy men looking for dates. And they're like dressed up as like Bulgarian dock workers, you know, in the 70s, like disco vibe.
Yes.
It's just Oh, so bad. So fucking bad.
Was
Rick
it- I think- I
Moranis,
think it
that's
was
who
an
I'm thinking
I
of.
think it was an episode where Leslie Nielsen starred, and they had a skit for adult diapers starring Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah. See, that's what made shit funny, is that it was wrong, and nowadays nothing's funny because you can't be wrong. Like,
Yeah, like here,
Fuck
like
me,
one
man.
of the good examples of Norm Macdonald on SNL was like, in other news, drugs, crime involving drug-related crimes are going up and everything, but it's something along like they're going down or whatever it was. And he goes, but they're not really, and he starts whipping out like a stack of cash because I'm raking in the profits.
yeah.
Like that's
Or it
making fun of the situation by being completely horrible. Like that's what SNL was good for.
What?
Like-
Or like now's
Eddie
a
Murphy
story
pretending to
about,
be a white guy.
don't drink, or alcohol is causing all these problems. And this is brought to you by Schlitz malt liquor. Like, it was good shit. Yeah. Anyways, it was funny because it was wrong.
Sam was wrong because it was funny.
Yep.
Victor in the chat saying, I had the idea of calling a hero ship the Relic, and I thought that would be a dumb name. I am now proven wrong. I'm so glad we were able to prove you wrong. See, remember, there's always someone worse than you.
Is there though?
Probably
There's-
not. Okay, how about this?
Always
There's
somebody
always
worse
someone
than
that'll
you.
make your idea sound good.
As long as you can go to a Walmart, you'll be able to prove that's true.
He's saying the
Fair
I'm
enough.
Gumby Dammit is a damn dumb name. For a
Oh,
ship.
but
But it would be funny.
that's only a dumb name if you don't know the history behind I'm Gumby, damn it. Which means if you don't know, well, you're just a lost soul.
I mean, it's not like you can't find out. Just go watch the skits. They're hilarious.
Yeah, but some people have never seen the skit, don't even know the skits exist.
I wonder if people even
When I
know
brought
that.
up the whole Kevin Spacey, Christopher Walken, Han Solo audition thing, there were people who were like, huh? I've never heard of that. And then they
now
went
that
and
I
watched it, and they're like,
mentioned
holy
I want-
shit, that's so fucking funny. And
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, but it's wrong nowadays, and they're like, yeah,
I-
he's such an asshole now.
Now that I mention
I
it,
was
I
like-
wonder how many people even know what Gumby is.
They don't. Exactly.
You know what's funny? You know how the Gorn in Star Trek when Kirk fights the Gorn? You know what my father and I used to call that, or still do,
What's-
rather?
What's a Gorn?
Well, we called him Gumby. It's
Nice.
funny because like watching that as a kid, I'm like, oh no, he's fighting this giant lizard thing. But now I'm looking at it, it's like it's a guy in a fucking Gumby suit.
Yeah. Yep. Well, you could call it Barney.
Yeah, but Gumby's better, and he's green.
Well, Gumby was original. Like, Barney is a Gumby.
Right.
That's But there's a whole generation that grew up thinking, Barney is the only Barney. Not us looking at Barney going, that's Gumby
Right.
in a different Gumby suit. Like, that's just such is the fate of generations,
Yeah. Also, Victor says,
Boot to the head, Dr.
Yep.
Demento.
Yeah.
Okay, Victor's got some cred. He knows some obscure shit now. That's proof.
one of us, one of us.
One of us. Do. That I used to have a recording of that. I used to
One of
play
us,
it every
one
once
of
in a
us.
while. No, boot to the head.
Oh,
It was a Dr. Demento skit.
yeah.
It's a whole long skit about a monk doing getting boots to the head. But anyway, good stuff.
Yep.
Classics.
Best.
More like classic.
Ick.
I'm kidding.
Icky.
By the way, I put a poll in the chat asking, like, do you think Squadron42 will release before 2024? The options were yes, no, it'll never release, 2024, try 2034, in which only one person replied to the last answer.
I was gonna say, what did Victor say?
I don't know what Victor said, but I know that someone said 2034.
The
must have
world
been
may
It doesn't
never
tell you.
know.
It doesn't tell you who voted.
That Russian bot probably answered it.
Damn bot.
Oh man.
No, wait, the Russian bot. I don't know about Squadron42, but my favorite game is Fallout. Uh-oh.
Are we going back to the Russia argument? Oh man.
Russia bot? Russia bot. Does
Remember,
whatever
in
a Russian
Soviet
bot does.
Russia, you don't pet dog pet you.
Is that a threat or a promise?
You don't pet dog because
Da.
we eat dog.
Yeah.
No, eat puppy.
I think the best Russian accent that I've always enjoyed was the one that was done in Armageddon by the cosmonaut in the space station. I am Russian I can't do it right, but like, I am Russian's astronaut. You are not. I have asked you to please step away from the machine. And then finally he just like hits her over the head and then just starts beating on the machine.
You sound like you're someone in pain when you're trying to do the
Yeah, I know.
accent.
It's because I am in pain on the inside.
Go on, tell me more.
But
I love
yeah,
how we went from CIG and actually like analyzing and asking, talking about the game to let's just talk about SNL and funny shit.
Too late.
What do you mean too
Yeah.
late? It's already happened. It is too late.
Exactly.
And it'll
It's too late.
continue.
you were
My
gone.
God, if my
Well, I mean, there's not a whole lot else to talk about for CIG other than they're coming back from vacation. Then they're gonna sit around and have a meeting about when they should have a big meeting.
you just
And then they're
reminded me.
gonna get everyone together and have a meeting about what they're gonna accomplish for the next year. And then that'll be mid-February, and then the end of
Right.
February, beginning of March, they'll give us a half a list of what that meeting said. And basically nothing's going to change until like the end of March. So there's not a whole lot to talk about.
Yeah. But you did remind me, we have the weekly schedule for this week. So this week in Star Citizen, we got Galactopedia.
No, Bob, I wouldn't say I've been missing work.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, I wouldn't say I'm missing it.
Good luck with your firings, though.
Yeah. What was his name? The guy's name?
That guy with the face?
The one that had the same name as the rapper? And I told those guys I like that asshole. Fuck.
You like the what?
Office Space. That is a good movie.
Oh, that is a classic, man. That is just...
Hey, watch out for your cornhole, bud.
Yeah, I'm going to need you to come in on Saturday. That'd be great if you could get that done. Yeah, that was... Yeah, anyway. Oh.
And he tells me to talk to accounting, and they took me to talk to Mr. Lumberg, and they keep moving my desk, and I haven't been paid in weeks, and they take my stapler, and it's my stapler, and
Have you seen my stapler?
my father has a red stapler because of that movie.
Excuse me, sir. I said a margarita.
I asked for no salt, but they put too much salt.
Yeah, love that movie.
Oh my god, it is great.
And to be honest, the end of my military career, like the last year that I was in, I was like Peter. I just did not give a flying F. And I was just like, good luck with your firings. I'm going to leave. I know I'm not supposed to today, but fuck you. I'm leaving. I'm going home. Don't call
Jeez,
me.
buy me dinner first, at least.
Victor is saying, there's this book series I'm a fan of called The Extraordinary Force by Craig Ellison. It's a military sci-fi book. The main character is named Joe, but he gets the name Barney after driving a van. With the character's face on its side into battle against the alien threat.
What if he is the alien threat?
Could be.
Well, I mean, I guess they die, just like we do. Okay.
Do they?
I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum.
Do they die like
making
a
a They
cheeky
Live
breaky?
reference there. Although it's actually, it's... I'm trying to remember the name of the movie. Where the sunglasses, you can see the aliens.
Yeah, I think it's They Live.
I think it's called They Live. I was just trying to remember the name.
They won't
With
for much longer.
God, who was that guy?
I
Wasn't
don't
he
remember.
like a pro wrestler?
Yeah, but it's actually that movie is essentially why we got Duke Nukem.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I can't remember if the movie came first or the movie came out after Duke
Oh
Nukem,
no, the
but
movie
yeah.
came first.
Did it?
Definitely. Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just remember it being. I mean, it was a just low budget B movie.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. It
In
wasn't
its
like
day.
your, Aliens or something. It was
Yeah.
pretty B movie sci-fi, but it was good.
Yeah, it was good for a B movie, but it was still just a it was something you're gonna see on like Saturday night,
Cable back
TV
when,
at like after midnight kind of movie. Like you would never see that on Tuesday
It's not-
at 8 p.m.
It's not quite, okay, this is just MST3K material. Like, but it skirts that line. Like, it's just above it.
Yeah. There are a few
It's
that were
not
like,
bad enough to qualify for MST3K material, but it's not, like, super great that it's, like, surpassing the eligibility for it.
to be honest, I know I'm gonna piss some people off when I say this.
I'm
but
already pissed off.
I know. This is just my opinion. But the first Terminator movie was just above the line of being a bad B movie. Like the way that it was produced or the way that it was edited to me was just very, very B movie-esque in the scene cuts and how they delivered it.
I agree. It doesn't hold. I think part of the reason it doesn't hold up well is regarding to the editing. The story is still great. Like I just rewatched it. It's on Amazon Prime. If it has it, wants to watch it.
No, the story is what saved it.
And even the visual effects too. Like they're not the best thing ever, but they're still really good. Like it's not like this is the horrible. It's not well, it's not MST3K.
Yeah.
It's not like
it's not original Godzilla movie bad, but it's I'm with you.
Or even the next 3 Godzilla movies bad.
Godzilla.
Although I will admit, what was the second one called? Godzilla Strikes Again? Godzilla Returns?
Oh, dude, there were so
Godzilla
many.
Sleeps Again.
Whatever the second one was.
Godzilla versus Mothra.
Actually is
No,
really good.
when I say Godzilla, I'm talking like the original,
I know,
like
dude, I grew up with the
60s and
original,
70s ones, not this.
It's
not the 90s shit.
The first one was 1954, and then I think 1955 or 6 was the second one, like a year later.
But there was a whole genre of those giant monster movies that came out after that. So you had like Mothra and
1960 something. South Korea did was it South Korea? I think it was South Korea did a knockoff Godzilla called the Yongari Creature of the Deep, and that is bad. They kill the creature with ammonia, and you just watch it kind of convulse to death as it's bleeding out of its ass. It's horrible.
When your country has just gone through a civil war, you kind of, the people have seen some shit.
Yeah. I'm not saying
they're a little
that's
callous towards
the bad part was the creature design. It's literally a guy in a fucking plushy suit.
Yeah. Oh, so you're saying he was the original Gumby? Is that what you're trying to do? You trying to bring this around again to Gumby?
It all comes back
Gumby,
to Gumby.
damn it.
The universe was built around Gumby. Damn it.
Let's prove it. Let's prove it.
Victor says the galaxy wants to kill the crap out of him after he reveals to the galaxy the crazy shit him and his merry band of pirates have done across 5 in the universe. Oh, across 5 in universe.
5 in universe.
Yeah, sorry.
But wait, how can he be part of a military force if he's a band of pirates? I'm not that. Those usually don't go together. Although
back to Star Citizen. So Wednesday
you could
we
be
have,
a privateer.
Yeah.
Technically, because that's basically what the Queen of France or the Queen of England did. Is she hired pirates but made them privateers and gave them a legal writ to go seize ships for the English throne, and that's what made them privateers but not pirates. So I guess there's a precedence. Anyways, sorry.
I mean, privateer is essentially just a quote-unquote legal pirate.
Yeah.
But Wednesday we
Better
got
than
this month in Star Citizen, so we're gonna get pretty much the. This Wednesday is gonna be a big thing because we're gonna get a roadmap update, a roadmap roundup, and some other stuff. Well, I mean, it's just that this is like they're officially returning to their normal.
Are they though?
Work schedule this week, CIG. So
I think that they're marking
updates. We're gonna get this month in Star Citizen stuff. We're getting an Inside Star Citizen on Thursday. We're getting a Star Citizen Live on Friday. Threat is
but technically all you're getting is an update. They're not telling you that the update is actually going to be information.
That's true.
May just be that the roadmap update might be like, we will have information in 3 weeks for you. Like that might be the update is what I'm getting.
That's entirely possible. I just think at this point it's probably going to be like we're now going to get that, the rest of that year, like
I think it's too soon, but that's just me. I think they're just getting back to the offices now, which means that you've got like another week or two while they're still like, let's figure out what the F we're doing. Like, when are we going to have a meeting about the meeting?
Yeah.
That's been their track record in the past. Nothing happens until mid-February.
Now we need to go in to get the men who went in to get the men who went in to get the men.
Yeah, exactly.
Leave
no man behind, so we need to send 6 in for the 1, but then those 6 go down, so now we need to send 12 in to get those 6 out. Like, yeah, anyways.
Xenothreat is returning supposedly on Friday, according to this. Xenothreat returns on Friday. Also,
I hear a lot of people are excited for that.
Yeah, Xenothreat 3.0. I mean, look, Xenothreat's a hell of a lot of fun, so I can't.
Yeah.
It should be interesting
I just
with
need
the
that
new
improved,
medical gameplay, but.
Sorry?
It should be interesting with the new medical and inventory gameplay, but I really don't see how much. I don't see much really changing. Just because.
It'll be interesting dying and respawning.
Hey,
Yeah, well, I mean,
part.
it's just that in previous Xenothreats, like when you had to go on board the Rex, clear out the FPS AI. I mean, I maybe once, died. Like, I never really died in those encounters, so I'm not overly concerned. Especially since I recently took out some AI on a freelancer, on a Starfarer wreck.
But do we know if these AI are going to be improved or not?
We don't, but I guess we'll find that out on Friday.
Yep. I honestly hope they're all SEAL Team 6 level.
Oh, yeah, because it'll encourage more group play, and I'm all for more group.
Not that.
I just want to see players complaining that it's too hard and be like, well, you guys said that you wanted FPS. There's your FPS. Shut the fuck up.
Fuck the shut up.
But yeah, we got, Inside. It's going to be the first Inside Star Citizen of the year. This Thursday. So.
Woohoo!
Let's see how either informative or mediocre it is.
Yeah.
And obviously, there's going to be Jump Point for those that are subscribed to Jump Point, weekly newsletter. So again, they're finally coming back to business as usual this week.
Like I said before, I think honestly, for anyone who's listening to this hasn't experienced them in the past, don't hold your breath until mid-February to actually see some productive results out of them for what the next year is going to be. And then whatever they give us, take about half of that, throw it out, and that's what the year is going to be delivered.
So let's see. Inside Star Citizen this week is going to be looking at new derelicts coming in Alpha 3.16.1, alongside a glimpse of what you can expect in the future, and as always, the beloved sprint. Probably the best part of Inside Star Citizen. Really
I'd like them to tell us why they're only one type of wreck.
Why there's only what?
So it's the only wreck is that the new derelicts is only a caterpillar. So there's no starfares, there's no Carracks, or you name a ship. Like, because remember back when they first said they were going to go into these and develop them, there was like all different styles.
They even had Cutlass wrecks.
Yeah, exactly. So why are they putting this out and it's only one specific wreck? It's different locations.
I don't know. Maybe more interactables. Maybe it's going to utilize the trip mines, the laser trip mines.
Yeah. But to me, it's like, why release it, if it's only 1% ready? Why not just take the time to do multiple types and then release it and say, all right, guys, now give us your feedback? Because what's going to happen now is, they're going to do one specific type. People are going to run out there and go, ooh, looks really cool. And 2 days later, everyone's bored of those wrecks and nobody ever goes to them. And then when they do bring in the other wrecks, nobody's going to pay attention to them because they're like, oh, I'm already worried about such and such other thing, and I've already done wrecks. I'm not going to bother with those, So to me, it's just they're releasing something that once again isn't ready for release right after they said they're not going to do that anymore.
Details.
Yeah, exactly. Stop listening to what we say, damn it, and holding us accountable for that.
Cam, it's location.
Yeah. I just again, it's their release. This item to me is just like the quad bike, which is why are you doing it? And
Don't ask
I
questions.
guess maybe it was punishment for an intern fucking something up.
No, it was
that's why
your
they had to do it.
punishments and yours alone.
Yes, it was, Cam. Anyways, I won't say it.
Oh,
Anywho.
That's really it. Just this week in Star Citizen. Yeah.
Woo! Yeah. So.
No.
And then we got some
Don't touch
community
me there.
contests.
Yep. More contests. More
Yes.
yay.
Contests.
Yeah, I don't know, over the past month or two, I've just been kind of watching where CIG is going, and I know that they're in a mode right now to kind of work on certain things, and because that's their focus, it creates kind of a company think in that direction. So I understand why they're where they are, but going back to something that we kind of mentioned earlier on in the show, I'm really not happy with how they keep trying to funnel us into interaction with each other. I keep wanting to kind of be, that moisture farmer out in the middle of BFE nowhere that doesn't have to worry about constant interaction to play the game. Like, if I log in and I've set up correctly where I want to be, I want to be able to log in and know that I'm in general in a safe place. Maybe if I have to go into town to get supplies, well, then, I might run into some sand people on the way, or when I'm in
That's
town,
racist.
bad shit could happen.
That's racist. You can't say that.
But you get my drift. Like, to me, I'm not looking forward to a game where every time I log in, I'm in doubt of what's the condition of my ship gonna be. Am I being attacked while I was gone? Or, as soon as I'm back in, is the game engine gonna decide that I've been in the same place for too long and now it needs to generate a AI pirate to come and check me out? Like, I don't want that for the algorithm. Maybe if the closer I am to like a major trade lane, maybe that increases my chances. Okay, that's fine. I'm okay with that. But if I take active efforts to get like out into the boonies and away from stuff, then I don't want my game to be this constant risk reward process. Am I making sense in that?
No,
Yeah.
totally.
Okay. That's my concern, because it seems like they're going away from that. Like, they're going towards this. Everyone needs to go through the checkpoint, go to Jump Town to battle it out. And I'm just kind of like, hey, that's not what I want, man. Not long term.
But at the same time, it is still an alpha. They are building out the game. They have to test
Yeah.
things and make sure they interact with each other, and the players interacting with it and with each other with it, and all that work.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
End goal, long term, I want to be able to just like, okay, I'm gonna log in. I'm at my outpost. My guy. You guys are at the outpost too, and I'm not gonna do some combat. I'm not gonna fly off and go to the other location across the system and do combat there. I'm just gonna stick around here and relax and do some gameplay stuff around the outpost.
Yeah.
That should be an option.
Yeah. Yeah. Or take it even away from that and like, I'm just gonna hang out in the apartment in RCorp and, watch the news feeds and get a feel and go see what maybe some other organizations are doing by watching the news channels, specific ones that they put out about what they're doing to maybe gather some intel for the next session when we're going to go and actually do something. Like,
essentially just jumping in game just to lose yourself in the unit.
Yeah, exactly.
Like watching a movie, but you're playing the character.
Yep. If you can do that, you know how many millions of people are going to want to do that? Like, once they realize the level that if CIG creates that, people are going to go fucking crazy for that.
I still want to be able to play Frogger and/or Pac-Man and/or
Spy Hunter
on my
Spy Hunter.
Skyrim on my Moby Glass, and Skyrim, of course, because Skyrim.
No,
what anniversary of Skyrim would it be at that point?
I want the arcade. I want to be able to have the arcade game actual console
cabinets
in my hangar or my apartment.
I mean, look, we have it, the actual arcade cabinets that are in game as the backgrounds in the podcast.
Exactly.
I want to be able to play those, and they said that we'll be able to play them.
Yep.
I want to play Hyper Vanguard Force 4. I want to play Space Race and Moon Assault Nexus.
Galaga.
Galactic Warfare. They even have slot
Would you
machines.
like to
They even
play
have
a
slot machines at
game?
the bar. Like, I want to play
Even
the
the
slot
what?
machines. I want to play the slots. See if I can get some extra credits.
Oh, absolutely. But that's not going to happen because that gets into the different
Loot
countries'
boxes and
gambling
stuff,
rules,
yeah.
unfortunately.
Well, I mean, if they're not going to do real money, so I don't see the problem. But
I'm sure some country somewhere is going to complain about it.
that's true.
Damn Canadians.
Actually, I would blame Germany of all things, because they're the ones who are actually going through with like anti-loot box stuff. Thank God someone is.
Is that a bad thing?
No,
I-
no, I said
I
thank God
support
someone
that.
is.
Yeah, like I do not support loot boxes.
I
That's
think we've made that clear on this channel multiple times. Loot boxes are
Yeah.
they're worse than gambling, honestly. Because at least gambling, you have the, at worst, the illusion of or the illusion of choice.
yeah.
If you're losing a match or you're in poker, you have control whether to fold or keep going
Poker,
or
but
whatever.
I barely know her.
Although the best example is slot machines, because that's the closest the loot box is. And the slot machine, you have the lever you pull, and you decide when to pull it. Loot box, there's no lever. It's all done for you, and it's all randomly generated items anyways, none of which has real-world value. The game has real-world value. A game has real-world value. Stuff in it does not. And therefore should not be. But that is just our 2 cents.
Bruce Lee
So-
just kicked your box out from underneath you.
What was that?
Bruce Lee just kicked your rant box out from underneath you.
No, why
Just
Bruce?
letting you know.
Why Bruce? Why?
Well, because we were on a 60s rant there for a while with Godzilla, and that's about right for Bruce Lee,
The dragon has entered.
Yep.
No,
Exactly. Oh, that'd be another good name for a ship. Enter the
Has
dragon.
entered, or
take it, the dragon.
just the dragon, or enter the dragon.
I'd go full bore. Enter the dragon, because people who know would see that ship and just be like, "Oh shit."
I mean, good luck. It's probably been taken.
Probably has, but you never know,
However,
man.
they're unique to a hull, so you could still have, say,
We don't know. That's
that's
they're
at the moment, at
totally
least. At the
redoing
moment.
the. At the moment, yes.
They are. I'm going by at the moment. Obviously, it's going to be changed, but for now, say someone already named their Carrack and their Hammerhead that. Well, maybe someone name their 600i that.
Yep. But there can be only one. So obviously
another-
somebody
hey,
has to
that's
name
another
their
good
ship
name.
the Highlander.
The Highlander, yeah. Can be only one. That
Yeah,
is it.
they need to shit can that whole idea.
Why?
It actually motivates people to create the stupid names of, like,
It's Highlander, but the I is a 1.
Yeah,
Lies.
exactly.
Or
Lies and
the E is a
deceits.
3 and stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah. And then the next level after that is all those are taken. So now I just do, like, the grotesque ones, like, I did your mom last night, XXX, and
Hey,
it
that was
it
me.
just yeah, exactly, liar. It just whereas if you just let people name, if it's okay to have 15 different fucking enterprises, let them fucking name them
Right,
enterprise.
but that's why you
It's,
have
Yeah.
unique serial numbers. That's the whole point of it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
I never understood. It's like, if we have both a name and a serial number, there's no point in a unique name. That's not
Yeah.
the unique identifier. The whole point of a serial number is that it's the unique number.
But we had
will
to
say
sell
this,
the
Bill.
ship at the time, and we had to come up with a scam of why you should buy it. And having a unique name only you can buy now sold it. So
Cam, did you ever get the chance to name your Carrack the Silent Cartographer or no?
No, I was never able to name the Silent Cartographer. That was taken like day one. And I had to wait until, like, I was in like the 3rd or 4th wave, because Concierge is because I got my
Yeah.
Carrack itself way late, and so it was. I will say this: I did like that they did have, the people who originally bought the Carrack got the name at first. Then the ones who were like 2015 to 2016, 2016 to 2017, then like 2017 to 2018, and Concierge, and then like everyone else. Something like that.
I know a good name for, I think, good name for Polaris. I'd definitely name it Tip of the Spear. Well,
No.
I think that's
Blunt spear.
what was that?
Blunt spear.
The blunt. Well, just because it's shaped like a spearhead.
Yeah, I know. The
And
obtuse
also
spear.
tip of the spear being an awesome track as well as mission. But yeah, I think that's it with Star Citizen. Honestly, the best thing we got to look forward to so far is Xeno Threat 3.0.
Woohoo! Sorry, that was my energetic woo.
Boo! Boo, I say. Brr.
Who? Who?
How now, brown cow?
Lazy fox jumped over the brown cow.
That too.
I don't remember jumping over a brown cow, but if you say so.
All right, well, been good show, and I will see you next week, possibly. Cool.
Yeah, same bat time, same bat channel, all that.
Different time, different place. Cool. All right, guys, have a good one. Talk to you later.
Did we talk about the Microsoft stuff?
Nah, I can save that for later.
There it is then.
Because honestly, too, it's like there hasn't really been any news with
well,
it.
I mean, we should at least so for any, obviously, if you don't know this at this point, like, where have you been? But essentially, for anyone who doesn't know, Microsoft is going to be acquiring, not has, but it will be acquiring Activision Blizzard for $68.7 billion. I say will and not has because the deal hasn't gone through yet. It's approved. Supposedly that's not going to, before it gets approved, if it gets approved, it will then be completed somewhere around 2023, 2024, like somewhere around there, late 2023, early 2024. So that's when it's expected to be completed and the acquisition to have gone through after it having been approved by the government. Because Microsoft kind of aiming for a Disney here, where they're just trying to become a monopoly in the gaming industry. I mean, they still have, they're still Ubisoft, EA, Nintendo. They're still, it's not as bad as what, but it's still, the gaming industry isn't, I wouldn't say as large as the entertainment industry, and like, or at least, I don't know, maybe I'm talking about math, but essentially it's, they're making their way. That's the vibe I'm getting. It's like they're starting to become like Disney, and they're gonna start owning everything. And then, because I keep seeing people like, oh, this is gonna be great. They're gonna improve the games, or whatever. I'm like, no, it's just gonna be more of the same shit. Be more of the same shit, but now it's gonna become worse because now they have no competition because they are their own competition. Unlike guys like us, they're not trying to outdo themselves. They're just going to find something that sticks and stick to it, and then keep doing it, and then mess with that to try and get more. Essentially, what we're seeing already, but worse. I mean, we're already, we had talked about, Cam brilliantly said last week, we're already seeing this with NFTs, right? Like we let, not we specifically, Cam and I, but generalization, people in general have allowed macro transactions to be a thing in games, and we're okay with it. And that means, okay, they're okay with it, so let's keep doing it, right? Because give them an inch, they take a mile, and now we're getting NFTs and essentially stock trading, cryptocurrency, and money laundering in video games. Goddamn bots.
Language.
Doggone bots.
Thank you.
At least this one sounds American. Although it's saying they rent. No one's ever cheering about rent. But yeah, it's... So yeah, they acquired they're going to acquire Activision. And this, by the way, this will make them the third largest, or one of the three largest gaming companies alongside Sony and Tencent. Once this deal goes, which is significant. But speaking of Activision Blizzard, lately Raven QA testers on strike, but now they're no longer on strike because they're unionizing. And it's all because of the toxic workplace culture scandal that's going on at Activision. Trying to find, but yeah, it's like one of my concerns. Also, for anyone in the Bobby Kotick, the CEO of Activision Blizzard, will be leaving once the deal is complete. However, he is staying on as CEO for the interim, but he does have to answer to Phil Spencer. But the fact that he's still on at all is just... The Wall Street Journal links in the description for all the sources for the articles and stuff that were about this topic. But you know, like the Wall Street Journal had a really good article about just how evil of a person Bobby Kotick is in regards to just in general and to the current ongoings of Activision Blizzard and the story and lawsuits that are currently ongoing. Not to mention the fact that Bobby Kotick tried to buy or talking about purchasing like media and news outlets to create better press for him. Sorry, I was trying to remember what it was. I'm like, damn, it's on the tip of my tongue. Yeah, that's pretty asinine, to say the least.
Lies.
First of that, I mean, not to say that journalists currently haven't that type of integrity whatsoever, but that's setting a new low at the current low. You know, in a day and age where you really can't believe anything at face value.
Can we read?
Let's see. No. Stare at words and they swirl into a circle. No. Yeah, that's it. Just yeah. So yeah, I mean, look, Xbox again. The deal won't be through for a while because it has to be approved. But yes, essentially, Activision Blizzard's gonna be under Microsoft now. It's gonna be under the Xbox banner. And according to the articles and statements from Xbox, they're not really going to be changing things in regards to how like the games and stuff like that. That's still, and also anything that any Sony deals that were done with Activision Blizzard, like Call of Duty on PlayStation, whatever. All those deals are still going to be nothing changing with that. But once deals have been done, like all the contracts have been completed, it's possible that they're going to be Xbox exclusive and PC exclusive, Game Pass exclusive. However, I doubt they're going to make like Call of Duty big name franchises exclusives, just because from a business standpoint that would not make any sense. However, I say that, and I say that would be smart not to make. But then we have Sony, whose entire lifeline based around exclusivity. How they've made Spider-Man exclusive. it's a very different animal, of course, because they made Spider-Man exclusive for the purpose of selling consoles. And it's a single-player game and all that, but, you know, the game itself would have done better if it wasn't an exclusive. Because again, business standpoint, it makes more sense. More people have access to it. I mean, that's why everyone's going free to play and all that. And despite my distaste towards free to play games because they're free to play games, I mean, I'm not blind. They are clearly successful. It is a successful business. I'm not a fan of it, but it doesn't change the facts. Anywho. And for any for comparison, Microsoft purchased ZeniMax, Bethesda Softworks' parent company, for $7.5 billion. And they're purchasing Activision Blizzard for $68.7. Nearly 10 times the amount that they purchased Bethesda.
Details.
My concern, though, is that what is going to happen, because in the statement that Xbox made, they're not going to interfere. They're not going to interfere or really do anything regarding all the ongoing contracts with Sony, as well as the ongoing lawsuits and stuff like that. Nothing's really changing, which is both a good thing and bad thing. But my concern is that now they have a shit ton more money. Activision Blizzard has a shit ton more money through Xbox and Microsoft to prolong the case in court. Which means that the hammer of justice is not going to be coming down anytime soon in regards to Activision Blizzard. Plus the fact that Bobby Kotick, when he does get let go after the deal is complete, he's going to be let go with a significant and generous severance package. You know, it's not like, oh, you're being fired and that's it. Like, he's going to be fired with pay. I mean, he's not going to be continued paid, but he's going to be fired with a severance package. Despite the fact that he should have left the second all this shit went down. Especially now that we know that he was largely at fault for a lot of it. And not just because of enabling through, okay, you're the CEO, this is your responsibility, but he was a perpetrator of it as well, not just a omission, right? Not through omission, but also through not negligence, but it was also, he was active in causing the harm to others. I believe he even tried to have like an employee killed or something. I don't remember if that's again, the Wall Street Journal article was very thorough. I mean, hell, even if that's not the case still, and then several, the employee committed suicide because of it that that went down under his watch. We covered this stuff back in July when the lawsuit first announced. We actually went through the court filing. And then we did a follow-up episode talking about the Cosby Suite in regards to the Blizzard Entertainment executives and their sexual abuse and harassment. And like a lot of people are like chanting that this is a good thing, you know, like that. Okay, they got bought by Microsoft and they're gonna make some changes in leadership, and yeah, you know, getting rid of Bobby Kotick once the deal goes through is definitely a first step. That's definitely good. However, just getting rid of a guy is not gonna instantly. You need to get in, and that's if you wanna, because looks like they're clearly trying to like reform or like reformat Activision Blizzard from the inside out in terms of personnel and leadership. They talk about firings in one of the reports. And if this is bothering you, I apologize. Stop that. But it's gonna be they're clearly trying to restructure, like in a sense, redeem the company. I personally don't think it can be, just because I think this is kind of like a permanent scar on that company and its reputation. The same goes for Ubisoft and Riot Games and all the other AAA gaming companies and companies as a whole that do this type of shit. But I do think that if you change up, essentially clean house, literally, you can turn the company around. Like, it'll definitely be a permanent scar marring and marking the company. But it doesn't mean you can't change things around. However, the only way to do that is to clean house and get rid of the people in that company that are making the problem. And I just don't think that they're really going to do that. I just don't have confidence in abilities. An interesting article from GamesIndustry.biz last week, and essentially unanswered questions. Questions pretty much spurred on by the announcement. Will the deal be approved? Because there's antitrust concerns regarding a deal of this size, as well as competition stuff and stuff like that. Because Microsoft already now owns Halo. After this is complete, they will own Halo, Overwatch, Doom, Call of Duty, and that's just to name a few. That's like one big franchise from each of the companies. It's just bought, right, or owned. Halo, along with Gears of War and Fallout and Skyrim and I should more accurately say Elder Scrolls. But yeah, it is a significant deal. No comeuppance for Kotick is another concern. I just brought it up. Apparently, Bobby Kotick is staying on, and the article says he is staying on as CEO in what sounds like a perfectly normal bit of acquisition etiquette. Old CEO sticks around, makes sure the transition goes smoothly, and then quietly ducks out once things are settled. The issue is that Kotick is not a normal CEO. He's been embattled for months as a result of multiple government lawsuits over gender discrimination at the publisher, and a Wall Street Journal report that he threatened to have an assistant killed. Oh, so I was right. Assistant killed, among other things. Investors and employees and media outlets have called for his firing or his resignation. Either, get terminated or step down.
Terminated.
Yeah, I need to close your boots and your resignation.
Don't threaten him with a good time.
But yeah, that's not to mention the fact that before all the sexual harassment and discrimination lawsuit happened last year, this dude's been like one of the most overpaid CEOs ever, and investors and board members have been like each year for like the last 3 to 5 years have been trying to get him to take a lower and lower salary because he's raking in the dough. And then firing a shit ton of people after record revenue years for the company so that he can get in more money. As was the case when they fired 8% of their workforce. 2019, I think.
Yeah, I remember that shit.
It was 775 employees. They fired nearly 800 employees after a revenue record-breaking year. When that Wall Street Journal report came out, Xbox head Phil Spencer sent a letter to his staff expressing his horror at what happened to Activision Blizzard and saying he was evaluating all aspects of our relationship with Activision Blizzard and making ongoing proactive adjustments. And I think the CEO of Sony, head of Sony and Nintendo also came out saying similar things, because it was back in November. Buying Activision Blizzard, I still stand by that this is normal, clearly, within the industry. It's unfortunate and it shouldn't be, but it is something that happens a lot in the industry. sexual harassment and just this type of discrimination nonsense. We're seeing it with multiple companies just in the last 2 years. I'm sure it's happening in other companies that we're not aware of. So, buying Activision Blizzard gives Spencer the ability to improve the situation for Activision Blizzard workers, so that could be good. But it also means that Microsoft and Spencer, excuse me, which have been very vocal in recent years about the need for more diverse and welcoming, are going out of their way to hire a man credibly accused of things that they would likely fire any of their existing employees for, and just things that they proclaim to be against. On top of that, Microsoft is buying the publisher at 69% premium to the share price. Kotick holds at last count 3.9 million shares of the company's stock, so he stands to make almost $371 million as a shareholder. And if Microsoft were to fire Kotick upon closure of the deal, without cause or good reason, Kotick would receive a payout of almost $293 million under Kotick's deal. Kotick, whatever it is. Cause would likely come down to whether Kotick engaged in willful misconduct or gross negligence in connection with the performance of his duties that has caused or is highly likely to cause severe harm to Activision Blizzard, or was intentionally dishonest in the performance of his duties under his employment, and such dishonesty had a material adverse effect on Activision Blizzard. Which sounds about right to me, but I suspect that he would contest in court and say otherwise. Particularly with that much money riding on it. And yeah, because we know that he was 100% engaged in willful misconduct, or and certainly 100% gross negligence in connection with performance of his duties that caused Activision Blizzard. Because even if he didn't do anything, say he didn't do anything, right? Like he was just sitting in his office and letting it all go by. He knew it was happening. That is negligence.
And also, too, especially as so much of, and we went on to this in further detail before, but with any organization, generally speaking, and I won't pretend that there aren't some amount of exceptions here, but generally speaking, trying to think of the right word here, the culture of the workplace comes from top to bottom. Because generally speaking, again, I'll probably say that a lot, if you have someone doing something that the boss doesn't like, the boss is going to call them out on it. Yeah, it's like if an employee sees the boss doing something they don't like, they're more likely to go and just sit down and shut up and not do anything about it. But if an employee is seen doing something the boss doesn't like, the boss is going to be like, hey, whoa, what are you doing? Because the boss is in a position of authority over them, right? They're going to be able to, and at minimum, be a lot more willing to call them out on whatever action is going on, as opposed to vice versa, because that does run contrary to the normal boss-employee relationship there. So that would mean, as Amanda said, either A, him and every other leader where this was happening, and again, and we're seeing it's not just like one person or 5 people or a team, some small division within the company. It sounded like it was pretty fucking prevalent across the entire company. I mean, when you literally have nudes of someone being shared around at a corporate retreat, causing a woman to go and commit suicide over this, and again, these are upper management, and no one's going, hey, whoa, what the fuck are you doing, guys? This ain't right.
It was even like lower level, like bosses and manager stuff too.
Yeah. So it's like that goes and tells you that your higher up leadership either A, is perfectly okay with it and is supporting this, doesn't necessarily mean they're encouraging it, but if you see it happening in front of you and you do nothing, you're encouraging it. And as we've seen from some of the reports, people were going to HR, and HR was going to the person complaints were made about and going, hey, such and such, Becky down in accounting came over to my office and was telling me about what you did. You better rein her in there. Like HR was going to the people that complaints were made about and telling them about people's confidential complaints, telling the person that did the bad action, such and such person was telling on you. They were informing the bad actors who was making complaints against them. Like, if that's not a complete betrayal, both morally, ethically, and legally, of what HR should be doing, I don't know what is.
No, I mean, look, I spoke like one of my neighbors used to work HR. Like, he's a good guy. We're friends, and he used to work HR. I don't know what company, some firm, law firm, or something. And his job was essentially like, look, you do something wrong, I'll give you another chance, but if you do it again, I fire your ass. He was kind of like, okay, I'll give you a second chance. You know, like, okay, you did it, it's a mistake, happens. But if you do it again, like, essentially, you get one chance, right? Essentially, 2 strikes and you're out. He was a very harsh word, but that was his goal, because his goal was to protect the other employees. That's what HR is. Human resources. PR is for the public relations. It's for the company resources, right? That's to maintain the company's reputation and well-being, as it were. HR is supposed to be the people that make up that company and protecting them, which clearly was not the case. Also, again, say it wasn't. We know that he was grossly negligent in protecting and just overall in his duties,
not supporting
in regards
people.
to the harm caused to employees. We also know,
at minimum, not helping the problem, and at minimum, or at maximum, doing it.
No, at minimum, it's that, and that he was intentionally dishonest in his performance of his duties, because we know he lied to board members and investors, because the investors are suing them as well, because they didn't know about this shit.
Yep.
Which implies that he was dishonest and failed to comply in his duties and his employee agreement, the CEO, to the board, and to investors, which are the people that he answers to. And especially on the dishonesty of the material adverse effects, like on the topic at hand too, not just in general. So those are 2 things that we know for a fact that he's guilty of, which they could fire him on, and of course he's gonna fight it because money, and because he just seems to be a real schmuck. But
we're like, what? I didn't do anything wrong. They were wanting it, some shit like that.
The article continues saying, it seems much more likely that Microsoft simply lets Kotick play out on the string. That Microsoft simply lets Kotick play out on the strings on his current contract, which runs through March of 2023. So, assuming Spencer has a genuine desire to clean up Activision Blizzard, which I don't think is the case, especially after covering last week's story where he wants to have that banning system that bans you across all platforms if you get banned from one game or one platform. So if you get banned from Xbox Live, you get banned on Sony, on PlayStation Network, and on whatever, Nintendo, and this, and like everything. And of course, they would be the ones setting why you get banned and for what. And he even straight up said that Xbox is not a platform for speech.
And what I love too is, as we're seeing with a great example with Activision Blizzard here. I mean, if you're willing to go and sexually abuse and harass your own employees, let alone what other harassment too was going on, because I guarantee it wasn't just sexual, that you probably had a whole lot of people that were
it wasn't sexual,
either threatened or otherwise.
It was sexual harassment and abuse, as well as discriminatory and stuff like it wasn't just based on sex, it was based on race.
It's not just sex, it's just a hostile work environment.
Yeah, it was toxic.
If that's if that's how they're willing to treat their employees, can you say then with any kind of a straight face that, oh, well, in their dealings with customers, with player bases, well, I'm sure they'd be 100% upright and truthful and all that stuff, and you would never have anyone banned simply because, oh, they just took a disliking to you one day, or they went and, someone was bored and decided to go and look up your connected accounts and saw, oh, you said this political opinion I don't agree with, or I don't like that you wore a blue-colored shirt today. Fuck blue-colored shirts. Or whatever the case might be, and decided, yeah, fuck it, we'll ban you here, and that's... Yeah, and as Microsoft's saying here, you got banned there, well, you're getting banned everywhere! Woohoo! Like, that's pretty fucked up.
They continue saying, Kotick do the normal CEO transition, blah, blah, blah. I mean... And let's be real, he's gonna Kotick's gonna stick around and he's gonna get paid. That should not be the case, and hopefully we can, that has time to change and not be the case, but I mean, just going off track records and what we've seen so far, guy's gonna still walk away scot-free. He'll come up and he's no justice, essentially. One of the other questions here is push for unionization. Like, what's this going to do for the push for a lot of companies within the Raven QA testers are getting unionized. All this shit. Strike over redundancies at Raven Software has ended just shy of 2 months after it started. Employees' Rights ABK Workers Alliance made the announcement via its official Twitter account yesterday, following Sunday. Following Friday's news that QA testers within the Call of Duty support studio had voted to unionize, the group emphasized that Game Workers Alliance Union not officially formed yet, as it is waiting for recognition from Activision Blizzard leadership. ABK Workers Alliance said that by ending the strike, we are acting in good faith and it added, we appreciate all the community support throughout the strike. Protest began in early December following news that Activision was laying off a third of the QA team at Raven Software, although the publisher instead said it declined to accept agreements.
Honestly, I would say that a lot of, call it modern jobs, but anything in regards to pretty much computer or tech, IT, has been lacking in terms of unions and union representation.
I remember hearing about like that. This is like going back years ago now, like pre-pandemic stuff and everything. About like we needing unionization for game development.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I'm still like I remember being for it then. I'm still for it now because you see the type of working environments that these devs.
Well, I mean,
look at CD Projekt Red.
Companies like EA and Activision and all these companies, and it's like if they're not because there's no unions. Yeah,
well,
like we saw with Activision, they get laid off.
Look at CD Projekt Red, to where they specifically said, "Oh, hey, one of the reasons why we're doing the initial delay that they had is so that we don't have a crunch time." Then, fast forward 8 months. Hey guys, crunch time. And when they publicly made a statement out, like it's not like, oh hey, we made an internal statement to our employees and then we went against it. That would be bad enough. But when we made a publicly facing, hey, look at us, we're CD Projekt Red, we're so great, we're so cool, yay! And then internally going, hey, we're just fucking kidding. Back to the fucking crunch. Like, what the fuck? That alone is pretty fucking shitty. And not even getting into other kinds of bullshit there.
Yeah.
Plus, also too, if there, and I don't know if this would be the case or not, but if there were more game developer, or even just like computer developer unions of one kind or another, potentially this would result in less crunch time, which means you're going to have more relaxed employees who are able to do their job better. Because again, if you have super stressed out, super overworked employees, they're not going to be doing the job well, right? You're going to start missing shit. Shit's going to go and start falling apart and barely be held together with duct tape. So, potentially speaking, you might end up with better quality products. Sure, those products might take a little bit longer to put out, but especially given the shit we're getting these days in the video game industry,
I'd rather get better.
I don't think that's a bad thing. I'd rather wait
something better than
I'd rather wait 6 months or a year or however long for a good product or even a decent product as opposed to a shitty product.
Agreed. Apparently 1 month after the layoffs were announced, the strike was still in effect. Representatives claiming that there had been no response from Activision. Activision told GameIndustry.biz that Raven leadership had engaged in dialogue with staff to hear concerns. Last week, an Activision Blizzard filing with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission claimed that the company was not aware of any labor strikes or pending legal proceedings against the company.
Of course not.
Which was total bullshit because strike was going on at the time. The filing followed the news that Microsoft plans to buy Activision $8.7 billion. ABK Workers Alliance said this news does not change its goals and that it remains committed to fighting for workplace improvements. So I hope that's true because...
Wait. You have hope? How dare you? That's not allowed.
I was like, what the acquisition means for the industry, I think really not much grand scheme. I mean, it's just going to get worse, honestly, because now...
Oh, yeah.
It's a battle for exclusivity, I think, is what they're going for. I could be wrong. They're not going to make things... and they're probably not going to make, Call of Duty, whatever. But, once all the Sony deals are done. But it's a possibility, plus the fact that Sony and Microsoft are both eating up exclusives, acquiring studios like they're freaking eating M&Ms out of a bat. They're just eating all of them.
Yeah.
All of them. Yeah. Wow. $8 billion franchise. Yeah, it should be an interesting year with all this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, by the way, on top of the Raven software QA stuff going down, Call of Duty Warzone is supposedly having some glitches and serious negative feedback.
Yep.
Which is a time where you need your QA testers. So we're not going to see if this deal even gets approved for up to 18. I remember one of the articles, I don't remember which, mentioned something. The original statement talked about something meta or whatever the hell. Whatever the fuck that means.
Don't ask questions.
I will ask the questions. Your third largest gaming company by revenue, behind Tencent and Sony. But yeah, that's really it. Sorry about this. Yep, that's pretty much it. Oh, got anything else?
Nope.
Oh, I know that Lego is not. They're going to be withholding an Overwatch set because of the scandal going on with Activision. Yeah.
Jeez.
But don't worry, for anyone that's watching plays PlayStation or whatever, you're still going to have your Call of Duty. But Sony's going to keep Call of Duty. All existing deals that Sony has with Activision still intact and still active. It's pretty much just, it's going to be exactly like it was with Bethesda. Deathloop, it came to PlayStation and all that. Any existing deals are still in effect. But once all of those deals have been completed, up for grabs, really. Speaking of, any word on Starfield?
Nope.
Sure. Starfield has potential. Not expected. Oh, by the way, Cameron, you were just saying about the CEO before, building the culture of the company. So what does this do for the push for unionization? Developer support for unionization has been growing for years, with every scandal at Riot Games or Ubisoft full of truly horrific stories that ended with the CEO and often other senior who built the culture still in charge at the end of the day, and the call for unionization was louder. Activision scandal was sort of a perfect storm. Kotick has long been an unsympathetic figure in gaming, once boasting to investors that his goal was to take the fun out of making games. The government's lawsuit carries more weight and more potential for a real impact than your average media report based on current former employees. The company's initial response to the suit was laughably bad, avoiding the artificial contrition of other exposed employers for belligerent denial. Activision Blizzard developers spoke out against their employer, staging a walkout and establishing the ABK Workers Alliance to give themselves a voice. A lawsuit from the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission followed, as did an investigation from the Security and Exchange Commission, and multiple press reports detailing further abuses and wrongdoing, some committed by Kotick himself. The workers group asked Activision Blizzard employees to sign union cards, and company leadership moved quickly to discourage employees from organizing. Of course they did. Combine Kotick's decades of ill will with seemingly unending parade of demoralizing news for Activision Blizzard employees, a general lack of remorse for things he had done wrong, and clear signals from the board of directors that there was very little appetite for removing him, and it seemed like we might have hit a tipping point. Kotick's continued presence atop the organization seemed like a splinter that would continuously agitate employees until unionization was inevitable. Frustration combined with the lack of hope for improvement would push Activision Blizzard developers on the fence about unionization to sign their cards because it was the only way to be heard. In an industry where surveys show that more than half of developers support unionization, as well as some gamers,
No.
just because they care about the developers, because they care about the games, because at the end of the day, if the games aren't good, it's got to be for something. Something's generally a reason for why the games aren't. Anyway, for a minute there, I wondered if we might see the first major North American game company unionize. The potential domino effect could have on developer wages, treatment, and unionization efforts across the industry would be seismic. But with Microsoft taking over, the unionization effort risks losing the adversarial focal point that Kotick gave it. Microsoft certainly has plenty of skeletons in its own closet. I know an ex-Microsoft employee that it's binary guts. I remember I pointed him towards something called Iron Source ago, and he's just like grateful because he just hates. I have to actually ask him what he thinks of all this. But at the very least, the company has done much better job of managing the bad press out of it. Yeah, it doesn't mean that right there. It's done a better job at managing the bad press, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't do bad things. You're talking about Microsoft after all.
So.
For its part, the ABK Workers Alliance said the news of the acquisition was surprising, but changes nothing. Remain committed. Yeah, we already read this section in the other article. They remain committed to fighting for workplace improvements and the rights of their employees, regardless of who is financially controlling the company. We will continue to work alongside our allies across the gaming industry to push for measurable change in an industry that desperately needs greed. We've called for the removal of Bobby Kotick as CEO in November for shielding abusers, and he still remains CEO as of this writing. The strike for Raven QA is in its 5th week, and our striking staff has still not received response from leadership regarding our request to negotiate. And finally, 3 out of 4 of our original collective demands to improve the conditions of women in our workforce have not been met. Whatever the leadership structure of the company, we will continue to push to end abuse in gaming and appreciate the outpouring of support we've experienced in the last. We may still be headed for unionization, but the odds of it starting with Activision Blizzard seem a little slimmer than it. I don't know, I think it's still going to head. Because at the end of the day, like, the case is too strong to fight against, I think. And they'll still fight against it, but companies will fight against it, but the case is there. You can't undo it. You can't put the genie back in the bottle, right? You can try, but you can't.
Details, details.
Meanwhile, Sony's going all Apple with the PlayStation. No more third-party products and stuff. I mean, this is old news, but like, yeah, compared to what Microsoft's doing, where they're like, you don't need an Xbox to get Xbox games. You can play it on PC now because they're trying to go for this. They're going for the subscription service, right? The Netflix of gaming with Game Pass. They're focusing on software, where Sony is focusing more on hardware, but even then, it's not really. Bottom line, look, if I want to play a game in 20 years from now on, say, an Xbox One or PlayStation 4, or even 40 years from now on a PS5 and Xbox Series X, I put the disc in, try to play the game, it won't work.
How dare you try to make it work?
Meanwhile, I still have my 360. I still have all the games that I have on it. They shut down servers this month, right? I think last week they shut down the servers, or 2 weeks ago.
Something like that.
I can still play all my games. I can't play some of them online, obviously, but I can still. Most of the games I have on the 360, single player, like Assassin's Creed games or Spider-Man games, and most of the online games that I do have, I really didn't play online that much, save for really Halo. So, I mean, look, I can still play. Oh, look, Assassin's Creed, just create a new account, load up a new save, or load up a new save, whatever it is, and get all the, play the game, do the game again, get all the stuff in the game. Like, the game works, it's an old style game. The old Spider-Man game my Wolverine game that I have on it. Granted, the Spider-Man and Wolverine game I now have on my PC, so I don't have to play them there. I mean, I'm playing them on my PC, PS3 emulator. I still prefer to play it on the Xbox 360. Better, was, especially with the Spider-Man game. Emulators aren't their thing, but yeah, I mean, I can still play all those games. I got the Transformer, the War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron games on there. I even have some of the movie games just because they were fun to play.
I remember playing one of them way back when, and it was pretty fun. It was like when the first of the newer Transformers movies came out.
Yeah.
With what was that one actress? Shia LaBeouf.
Right. I have, let's see, on my Xbox 360, I've got. The only movie one I have, I think, is Dark of the Moon. Which the gameplay is pretty much the same as War for Cybertron, but with some edits, and obviously. Like, instead of ammo, it's like a recharge, right? Your gun doesn't burn ammo, it recharges. Goddamn, War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron are so damn good. Yeah, so much fun. I still want an Assassin's Creed style, like old school Assassin's Creed, like Revelations, where you have like the weapon, like or Brotherhood, right, where you have that weapon wheel full of all the gear and stuff. I want a Transformers game that's open world. Actually, GTA meets Transformers, War for Cybertron, or Fall of Cybertron, either one, meets Assassin's Creed. Give me the weapons and combat of Assassin's Creed with open world of GTA, and obviously the Transformers out. Because even a single Transformer is like a walking fucking arsenal.
Oh yeah.
Open world to drive around, or fly around, depending on what bot or con you're playing as. Give me a good story. Give me some good characters. If you're gonna go with a new continuity, give me some good new designs. I still think that would be really. especially
How
like the
dare you start
Assassin's,
thinking?
especially with the Assassin's Creed Revelations specifically styled weapon system, where you get to like, okay, I want to, I have a bunch of weapons, but I want to select X weapon as the, like, and you have the D-pad on your controller, right? You can select what would be what what up would be selecting what weapon or what tool, right? This way you can customize your loadout essentially, but you can kind of do this on the fly and reconfigure. Like that would be nice. Like, okay, I'm playing Optimus Prime. I want to have the Energon Axe, and I want to get the Iron Blaster, but maybe I also want to have the Star Saber as one of the weapons. And
Not the Star Saber.
like hell, even in like Transformers Devastation had mechanics that were similar. Transformers Devastation had good mechanics. That was more a beat 'em up, like a brawler game. It was good. It's just something just felt not bad. Like it was actually a really good game. I feel like we can do better. Not that.
Well, part of the
isn't,
problem is that with so many games nowadays, you have them all. Pretty much all major franchises are owned by large companies. Those large companies are like, well, I want a guaranteed investment. I don't want people to experiment or try
and
new
that's the problem.
things
I want
unless
people to take risks.
market study says, battle royale is the hot thing. Do battle royale. That kind of bullshit.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm here like saying, hey, we need to experiment with what you can do in a Transformers game. There's so much you can. I think that goes really for any game. I'm just, again, like we said this before, I'm of the, we're both of the mind that we shouldn't have to settle for less. Why settle at all?
Yeah.
We are capable of doing more.
And it seems like with so much these days, we only settle.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, my behavioral modification theory I came up with years ago. Remember the whole like, oh, they're gonna give us shit and shit and shit after shit after shit, and eventually they'll give us something that was once considered mediocre, once considered meh. But because we got so much shit, by comparison, it's the best thing ever. And that's how they reset the quality bar and how they lower your expectations and lower your standards. And just lower standards in general. Like kind of that's what I consider, that's what I call behavior modification, because they're modifying your behavior to how they want it versus just you being however you want and just yeah. But that's how they reset and lower the quality bar. They want, and we're going backwards as a society.
Oh,
like
we are by
artwork
far.
and everything. Like escapism. Like
we're falling directly into the corporate-driven dystopia.
Oh, we're pretty much going. The only thing missing is the cybernetic modification that.
Yeah, all the stuff that would be like, oh, hey, this is a cool setting kind of shit.
Essentially, we're currently in the nihilistic cyberpunk dystopia without the cool shit.
Yeah, early days though.
Yeah, but we're heading there. Where the mega corporations rule and stuff like that. Like that's pretty much where we're heading. All
what
those
if
companies
I'm the
that
mega corporation
don't care about you or the product they're actually pushing. They just care about profit and ethics and morals and whatever. Everything really be damned. Profit above all.
I've got to actually run for now. So
I think we're also done anyways. What time? How long? Oh, 3 hours. Yeah, we're done. I figure we should. Actually, you're the one that said we should try the main streamline how long we go.
Yeah, so, but I gotta run. So,
yep. So that's gonna be it for now. I hope you guys enjoyed. And real quick, sorry, I'm just gonna set up for next episode. But real quick, I am going to show the new merch that you can get, because we've got merch. Merch is good. It pays rent, among other things. There. I have made a poster. I call him Max. You can purchase this on my eBay store. Our eBay store here. Along with Prime, Batmobile, Batman, Iron Man. And here, you got a colored version and you've got a noir version. So there you have it. But yeah, there. I still need to finish some merch store stuff. So stay tuned to the Teespring store for some cool merch.